Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order, Tuesday, April 25th. This is a meeting, it starts at 6:30. Obviously, we're moving directly into executive session. Let me read why. And when we come out, we will move into the regular meeting timeframe. So this meeting, executive session, is to conduct strategy session in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, fire chief and highway surveyor, and further to conduct strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body and the chair so declares, administrative professionals, dispatcher, firefighters, and highway unions.
So moved.
Second,
Motion has been made and seconded. We'll call a roll call vote.
yes.
I'm in favor.
Yes?
I'm in favor.
Okay, Mr. Scott may be coming in late. I think he's got tied up, I believe. Is that right, Bruce?
Somebody's got him tied up
Someone's
somewhere.
got tied up somewhere. Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you. We'll, if you guys are waiting outside, we'll let you know as soon as we're out, okay? We were in executive session and now have come out of it into regular meeting. And I would ask you all now to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming tonight. I'm going to go directly into public announcements. The Green Hanson is sponsoring a bike donation drive, Bikes Not Bombs, Saturday, April 29th at 620 County Road behind Shaw's. Donations of bikes, bike clothing, gear, and helmets will be accepted. For more information, go to www.bikesnotbombs.org. For information on all the Green Hanson activities, check them out on Facebook at Green Hanson, check them out on, facebook.com/greenhansonma. Town meeting will be held on Monday, May 1st at 7:30 PM at the Hanson Middle School. I thought it was 7. Didn't I have 7?
There's
No, we meet at
We
seven.
We
meet
meet
at
at 7,
7.
so the Board of Selectmen meet at 7, and the town meets at 7:30 at the Hanson Middle School. A quorum of 100 registered voters is required to conduct the town's business. Hanson Historical Society Annual Turkey Dinner will be held on Thursday, May 4th, from 6 PM to 9 PM at Camp Kewanee. Speaker Judith Calaora portrays Deborah Sampson, a revolution of her own. Tickets are $15 and can be purchased by call, or it can be purchased, or it can be purchased at the door, I'm assuming, or calling John and Patty Norton at 781-294-8645. The Hanson Police Department will be hosting a blood drive for the Kraft Family Blood Donor Center in concert with Dana-Farber and Brigham and Women's Hospital at the police station located at 775 Main Street on Sunday, May 7th, from 9 AM to 3 PM. To schedule an appointment, log on to tinyurl.com/Hanson, May 2017. For more information, email blooddonor@partners.org or call 617-632-3206. On May 10th, 2017, the Hanson Community Preservation Committee, CPC, will be holding its annual public open forum meeting from 7 PM to 8:30 PM at the Hanson Town Hall. We will be highlighting some of the projects that CPA money funded in 2016 and 17. Committee members will be on hand to discuss CPA and how CPA monies might benefit the housing, open space, historic preservation, and recreational needs of Hanson. Potential grant applications, particularly members of other town boards and committees, and the general public are encouraged to attend. This forum is a great opportunity to learn about CPA and the many ways it can be used to improve our town. The forum is also meant to be a platform for providing feedback and suggestions to the community for future projects. Please email us at cpchanson@gmail.com with any questions. For more information about Hanson CPA, please visit www.hanson-ma.gov/community-preservation-committee. There are vacancies on the following committees: the Finance Committee, the 200th Anniversary Committee, and the Memorial Day and Patriot Observance Committee. Residents interested in serving on these committees should submit an application for appointment to the Selectman's Office. Applications are available online at www.hansonma.gov. I also have another announcement that the Board of Health has placed a kiosk for sharps disposal at the transfer station. Residents with a valid transfer station sticker can dispose of sharps during transfer station business hours. The sharps must be in a sealed, puncture-proof container. Okay, now I'm really stupid. What's a sharp?
It's looking for needle disposal.
Yeah.
Oh, those, okay, gotcha, okay. Thank you, Arlene.
You're not stupid.
I'm not that stupid, yeah, I guess, all right. Upcoming meetings. Final Plymouth County Hospital Reuse Committee is Wednesday, April 26th at 4 PM. We have selectmen meetings on Monday, May 1st, 7 PM at the middle school town meeting, just before the town meeting, starts at 7:30. And another selectmen meeting on May 2nd, 7 PM, middle school town meeting, and that's a continuation for May 1st, if it has to happen. Is that correct, Mary? Right? We also have a selectmen's meeting on May 16th at 7 PM and May 23rd at 7 PM. There's also a CPC meeting to be held Wednesday, May 10th at 7:00 PM. And as far as I know, that will conclude our public announcements and upcoming meetings. We will move to new business, which is to approve Town Administrator's recommendation of Rhonda Lee Larson as clerk to the treasurer collector. Gentlemen, on your iPads, you should see a letter from Rhonda Lee under item 1.
Item number 1.
Item 1. And I'll give you some background. It says, I worked in East Bridgewater Tax Collector's Office for over 20 years. As administrative assistant tax collector, I was responsible for the generation, distribution, and collection of all tax bills for the town. I also accurately maintained and balanced the accounts receivable for all the tax bills. In addition to proficient record-keeping, administrative, and clerical skills, I am detail-oriented and have excellent organization and problem-solving abilities. I also have excellent communication, interpersonal, and customer service skills. And she's also included her resume, which is,
Pretty extensive.
yep, pretty extensive underneath there. So she says, as you can see from my resume, I have vast experience with all aspects of tax bills in compliance with Mass General laws, including real estate, personal property, motor vehicle, Title V, betterments, and their abatements and exemptions. I've always enjoyed assisting the residents of my town professionally, courteously, and respectively. And it's quite an extensive resume here. Is Rhonda Lee here with us today? Hi, Rhonda Lee.
She was mostly clerical in what she's going to be doing, with the exception
Nice
of
job.
licensed childcare provider.
Yep.
So, she does have extensive background.
Mr. Chairman, we were quite fortunate that Rhonda Lee chose to apply for this position. As you've just mentioned, in summarizing the letter of interest that she sent to us, she comes with 20 years' experience in exactly what we're looking for here in the town of Hanson. So we did, Jeannie Sullivan and I did interview approximately 8 or 9 applicants, and we had an awful lot of good applicants, we honestly did, but none of them really could outshine Rhonda Lee. And again, we're very fortunate that we have the opportunity to extend to her this offer of employment.
I see you worked at Easton Pool and Spa. I like them. They put in my pool. Thank you. Is Dave still there? I think he is, right? Great. I would entertain a motion to accept Rhonda Lee
So moved.
as the
Second.
clerk to the treasurer collector's office. Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion or questions?
I would just like to say that I graduated the same year as you, so I know how old you are.
She could have skipped a few grades.
Should have said how young you are, you know?
How young you are, that's right.
If he was running for re-election, he would have said Fred how young you are. Okay?
Kenny, the only difference is that she was
Right.
right at the glance.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye, 5-0. Congratulations and welcome.
Good luck. Welcome, Rhonda Lee.
All right, next item we have is the appointment for the Animal Control Officer, Mary Drake, term to expire March 31st, 2018.
There's Mary Drake up there.
Mary Drake is over there. Hi, Mary, how are you? Thank you very much, thank you. She has attached, under item 2, her resume with professional summary, skills, work history.
That's in there, too.
I read this last time too, Mary, if I'm not mistaken, I did at the last meeting. You are an owner of Century Pet Care Services. You provide in-home pet care for animals that cannot get to a groomer and owners who may not be able to get out.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. You also offer obedience classes, written a book on 6 training program.
I rewrote my father's book. He was actually a dog officer when I was 8 years old in the town of Hanson.
Was he? Yeah?
Yes.
Wow, so there's some history there. That's very
Yes.
good, very good. Compassionate approach to canine training built on trust and patience. This book has been my guide not only to animals, but my journey into my career. I've worked with animals not only personally, but professionally. My 12-year-old lab is a therapy dog, and we volunteer at different events and places. And you'll be continuing your education towards the animal and science degree with the goal to have a solid career in the animal industry. You're a 4-H leader and own 25 chickens, 2 cats, 2 dogs, 3 bunnies, 4 ducks. All right.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, I enjoy spreading love of animals as well as educating the kids and the public on all species. That's really cool. So I would entertain a motion to accept Mary Drake to the Animal Control Officer's position.
moved.
Term to expire
Second.
March 31st, 2018. Any questions to her? Any questions at all?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to note that in addition to what she has put on her resume, she also served as the Assistant Animal Control Officer in Holbrook at one point. So she comes with an awful lot of experience, an awful lot of enthusiasm, and in the 2 weeks or so that she's been acting as the interim Animal Control Officer, she has really moved forward in trying to get a handle on where the town of Hanson needs to be in regards to animal control. And again, another individual that we're very, very fortunate to be able to bring into the rank and file here in the town of Hanson.
That's terrific.
It's pretty
So,
ironic.
Mr.
Her last name is Drake and she owns Drake.
Mhm.
Well, my maiden name was Anair. And what is Courageous Kennels used to be Century Dog Academy.
Ah,
And that
okay.
was my father's business.
Very good. Well, she's coming back to the town, so that's a good
Yeah,
sign,
that's good.
right? Yeah, all right. We have a motion made and seconded. Are there any further questions? You seem well, you've got a list of great skills here, Mary, and if I may call you Mary. Work history, education. If there's nothing further, I'd like to call to vote.
Quick
Mr.
question.
Scott?
Have you had any training in euthanasia of animals? We do run into that often here with deer that have been hit, different things. I had one right across the street from my house in March.
I met with the police chief, and I do not have an LTC. He does not, we would like to have me call an officer for those kind of situations, just because firing a firearm within the community, it puts me at legal responsibility personally. So if the police come and do it, it falls upon the town for any kind of liability.
Right.
So I'm actually covering myself, and they're very good. I know all the guys on the force. I went to high school with most of them, so I feel very confident being able to call someone in for that.
I think they've got to reach out and do a little more training, in my opinion.
We
After
had that
7
as well.
shot attempts at the deer across from my house, I asked him if he'd like me to show him where to shoot it. And finally, we got their heads together and,
I'm setting up a class for that, which I will also sit on as well.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a gut feeling you'd probably take him home and try to make him better, right? It depends, yeah, I know.
I would think that on that.
We'd see another add-on to the number of animals that you have, I would think, right? Okay. Okay, if there's nothing further, I'd like to call to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Signing Mary Drake. Mary Drake, welcome. Term to expire 3/31/2018 as animal control officer. Thank you, Mary, and again, welcome to the town.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, while Mary's still here, you do have in your packages a request to use the town green on Sunday, June the 4th, for a 4-H club event, which is, actually, the date's wrong here, but it's what is called the Chicken Run, and Mary is the proponent of this.
That's item 7A on your iPads, guys. It's the 2017 Chicken Run.
Did you fix it?
Sponsored by the United Farmers 4-H Club of Plymouth County. Full day invite you to a day full of fun and games for all, Sunday, June 4th, at 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Hanson Town Green Hall. Ticket price at the door, is that right? At the door, $1 for 2 tickets? That's terrific.
We're gonna
Wow.
round up all the chicken chasers.
Yeah. Tickets available in advance through the United Farmers at 781-927-9028. First 50 obstacle course runners get a free feathered bag or boa? That's boa. Oh, a snake. Okay, gotcha. Free tickets to those those with a sponsor sheet. There will be prizes for those who raise the most money.
God, this sounds like
Placement
fun.
prizes for obstacle course, raffle table, face painting, balloon animals, home vendors, pony rides, petting zoo, 4-H demonstrations, and more. Proceeds go to the benefit events at the Marshfield Fair 4-H shows. Those of us who go there know that, I certainly do. Come run like a chicken through our obstacle course, have some lunch, and stick around for our flash mob chicken dance. I hear Kenny's really good at that, so.
Yeah, we'll be there.
All right, and she's got a sponsor sheet here. I take it we can, anybody who wants to get a hold of this sponsor sheet, they can come into our office. Is that right, Mike? I would
We'll
imagine.
have it available.
We'll have it available. So we'd look to entertain a motion to accept for the 2017 Chicken Run to be held at the Hanson Town Green Hall,
So
Sunday,
moved.
June 4th,
Second.
at, why don't we say 8:30 a.m. to 2:15 p.m. in case of cleanup, set up before and after, something like that.
Well, we do that probably like an hour before anyway to
You
set
do?
up, and we'll be there later as long as everything's cleaned up. We bring our own barrels, everything.
Terrific. Okay, motion's been made and seconded, and she just made some comments on cleanup. Thank you very much, Mary, for this. And thank you for this event, Mary. This is one of those events that helps bring the town community, bring the town together, you know. It's a good idea. I see a lot of kids here for this one. Any further questions on this item, guys? Again, this is item 7A on your iPads.
Mhm.
Okay, has the motion been made and seconded? I'm
Yes.
Yes.
Talking too much? Okay, let's call it the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. You're on. Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you, Mike, for pointing that out. We need
Well, while we had her here, so.
Just the chicken, if you.
Yep. No, I have not. Not had the pleasure to chase a chicken. Okay. We have an appointment request for the 200th Anniversary Committee. Ms. Lee Gamesh at 819 Main Street, term to expire, Gamache, I apologize, Joe's gonna kill me, right? Term to expire 12/31/2020.
I'll motion that.
Motion's been made, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Lee works for our town in the assessor's office, and she's been a resident of the town of Hanson for, how many years is that? Is that right? 54? 54 years, wow. Holy mackerel. And you've worked for the town for 20 years. Kenny's trying to do the math and how old you are. That's what you're worried about, you know? Okay. So, everybody knows you. I would entertain a motion to accept Lee to this, to the 200th Anniversary Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and
Didn't we
seconded.
already do that?
Well, if we didn't, we did it again.
We just want
all
to
right?
make sure she's in.
She makes sure. Are there any questions to Lee? None. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. Welcome and thank you, Lee, for stepping up. I'm going too quick here, I think, okay? And now we're at the town meeting preview,
Yes.
right? Okay, I would imagine that we're moving directly into the special town meeting items, is that correct?
Correct. Your books are in that order. Special town meeting is first.
It's gonna be easier, I guess.
Yep.
Yes, definitely use your books.
Okay.
So
we have any changes?
I'm sorry,
Corrections
Tom.
right on your motions.
All right. I see we have Sean with us here tonight. Thank you, Sean. It's always good meeting when you see Sean. I know it's gonna be fun, all right? All right, guys.
That's all on
So,
files and cents.
how do you want me to do this, Mary? Am I reading just the changes, or am I reading everything?
Well, everyone's gonna be moving their own articles.
Okay, gotcha.
We do have a couple of items that we need to, the board needs to vote a recommendation on, that were held. So as we go along, we can make that recommendation.
That's a good idea. I wasn't sure you want to do that in advance. Okay. But there's nothing, I think, that we needed to do. Oh, yes, there is. There's a couple items that we held. I see,
Right.
even for the special town meeting. Okay. So we had, if I recall correctly, didn't we have spreadsheets where who was supposed to read what? Yes, we do.
No,
Article
you-
6,
you
Jim
each- Yeah,
McGann.
as you go through the book, we'll.
I'm reading the pink slips, right?
Yeah, the special town meeting warrant is in the,
Yeah,
for salmon.
Salmon, but that's
And
okay.
then when we get to the annual, your motions will be in blue, so you'll need to read the ones that, Mike can grab the articles that we don't have anybody here to move.
Okay. So, Mike, are you starting with the first one?
No, I am.
Don has it.
Donnie, okay, Donnie, ready when you are, sir.
I move the town vote to pass over. There are no unpaid bills from the previous fiscal year.
So we can make a recommendation on that after, if,
second everyone.
Okay.
I don't think we have to second. Do you want him to second?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it'd be helpful if one person was.
Yeah, assigned to each.
Seconding it, right?
Yes, very
Yes, one, the same person, yeah. Very helpful.
Second.
We'll make it Kenny,
Second.
okay? Got a lot of energy tonight, so, working.
Did you want to make your recommendation on that article? Because that was a hold for us.
I would entertain a motion that the Board of Selectmen recommend to pass over. Is that right, Mary?
Yep, that's right.
Article 1,
So moved.
Second.
You don't have to do it.
seconded.
Okay.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0, Mary? There's no unpaid bills. Hanson's paying our bills. That's good stuff. Okay. Who has number 2, guys?
I do.
Let's go.
I move that the town vote to transfer $38,000 from the amounts appropriated in Article 5, line 57, Norfolk County Agricultural Tuition, and $5,000 from Article 5, line 50, Animal Control Expense of the May 2016 annual town meeting to supplement appropriations previously voted at the annual town meeting of May 2016 for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2016, for the various town departments as printed in the warrant.
Second. I didn't hear motion, did
Did you, yeah, you made the motion.
You don't want me to read the explanation, do you? Or do you?
I think we should, are you guys okay with reading the explanation, or no? You wanna just move on?
You know, what I'll do is I can always just state, which I'll do for all these multi-part ones, that after the explanation, what I'll do is I'll call out each line item. If anybody wants to discuss it, they can shout hold, we'll hold it for discussion. And then after that, if Bruce could read the explanation for each.
Gotcha,
Hopefully there won't be any discussion.
that makes sense. So ladies and gentlemen at home, we have a small matrix on some of these articles that has a breakdown, it's a line item that talks about the amounts.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's terrific. Mary, that was a motion he made, right?
Right, because that's what would
And
be
Kenny,
on town meeting.
Kenny did second it, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay. And now we actually need to make a recommendation on that, because that was another article that we held, because we did not have the information at the time.
right. Would that be a second motion? Don't we have to vote on the first one, Mary, before we move to the next one?
No, because that's what we're gonna be doing at town meeting. Town meeting will be voting.
Okay, so I would
I'll
entertain
move to make a recommendation for Article 2.
2. Second.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0, Mary, good. Number 3.
No, Beth will read hers.
I move the town to vote to transfer from free cash $24,000 to purchase new election equipment.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're voting on each one of these, right, or no? I thought we were voting on these ones as well.
No, we're just
Just the
moving.
ones that we had.
Just the ones
Gotcha,
that-
gotcha.
Yeah, only the ones we didn't make recommendations on, as we
Gotcha.
get through some of our other
But I-
articles.
Right there, it's
It'll only be that easy.
majority
So there's only two more on hold, Mary, 7 and 8, right?
Correct.
Gotcha.
So let us know when we have to,
And then, this is the moment that somebody will ask how much we have in free cash. Could we have the amount of free cash and the amount of stabilization ahead of time, so I can just read it off before we even get going?
Sure,
Thank you so much.
my pleasure.
Do we have a ballpark? What are you thinking?
What am I thinking?
Am I putting you? All right, never mind, Todd, I'm good. I-
Free cash, 1,266,067.
You're good, see, brother?
Stabilization, off the top of my head, 1,071,000 and change.
Thank you,
But I'll have
sir.
the exact number for you.
That's all right, that's cool,
Are you
that's an
gonna
approximate.
say how much you plan to use at this town meeting out of that free cash, or is that, 1,066,000.
Yeah, if we could have that as well,
yeah,
And how much to use?
266.
so that if somebody asks me
Yeah,
at
that'd
the
be
beginning of
helpful.
the annual,
to where, four, right?
if we could also,
She
if
just
you
did
could also
four.
back out how much free cash we're gonna spend on the
Oh, that's
special,
good, okay.
so I know at the beginning of the year.
Absolutely,
There's three.
that's all prepared.
Awesome, thanks.
Okay, free cash.
Now we're-
Article 4, Robbie.
See if the town will vote to transfer $64,000 from free cash to Article 9, Line 3 of the May 4th, 2015 annual town meeting paving fire department parking lot.
Second?
No, we're good, we're only,
Oh, you're not gonna?
yeah, we got mixed up because there were four that the selectmen held, that's why.
Okay.
Yes.
Anybody here from the historical?
Yes, you can do it.
No, I'll
cover it,
read it,
Mike?
yeah.
Article 5?
Yeah, Article 5 is to see if the town will vote to transfer a sum of money from free cash and/or available funds to fund matching grant for historical survey and inventory of the town's historical possessions or take any other action relative thereto.
All right, moving on to Article 6.
Who's doing the historical?
Tom would do it if he's there, Tom Hickey.
We'll find somebody. I'll check with the Nortons too.
Okay.
I've already signed John some articles.
Okay, Article 6, I move the town vote to transfer $10,000 free cash for the grading of private ways under the direction of the highway surveyor.
Article 7, I move the town vote to pursue the naming of a parcel of land located on 1120 Main Street, Assessors Parcel ID 43-0-45, in honor of Lieutenant David Conlon Hall, U.S. Army, who was killed in, action in the Republic of South Vietnam.
And this one, this one was held by us, so we need to vote on this one, Donnie. So you might want to entertain a motion to accept Article 7 by the Board of Selectmen. Recommend, excuse me.
So move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0, Mary. Article 8.
I move the town to transfer $1,200 from free cash to the amounts appropriated at the May 2016 annual town meeting, Article 5, line 76, for veterans' expenses.
This is one that the selectmen need to vote on. We would also entertain a motion to recommend Article 8 by the Board of Selectmen.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0, Mary, on this one. Article 9. We have someone from the school district. Bob's not here, okay.
Yeah, I can read it. I move the town vote to transfer $78,667 from free cash for the repairs to the McQuon Elementary, Indian Head Elementary, and the Hanson Middle School.
Sean, I'd be ready for this one,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Noticing that.
okay? Because my gut tells me that with the closure, or the potential closure of the McQuon School, that there may be a number of people who wish to have the items from McQuon removed, okay?
Well, it seems as though finance committee did that, at least with number 1.
Right.
Are you guys going to vote on those now? Or have you already
For
voted?
Article 9, We
I
did,
thought we voted, didn't we?
it doesn't say
No,
anything.
we
on this
haven't voted, we were holding it for additional information, and,
I think what
no,
we,
they had reduced one of these amounts, and I don't think I brought it down with me, but the last item, Indian Head Middle School industrial style fans, that had been a higher number, and they reduced it because they took McQuon School out of that.
and they can reduce it, but they can't go higher, right?
Correct.
Plus, we should probably get an itemized list of the McQuon, Indian Head, and Middle replace exterior doors.
That has been requested.
Do they definitely know the date that they're going to close the school?
I don't think they voted a specific date.
September 2018.
No, the only thing I was thinking, there might be something that might have to be fixed to keep it open.
I believe the motion was to, for a mutual agreeable date with the Board of Selectmen. I was watching the
Yep.
meeting.
So what's the condition assessment for 25,000? Engineering condition
That can
assessment?
come off, I don't think you
You know?
need that.
They,
Yeah.
I mean,
when they were at the last meeting with us, they said you may want to leave it on in case the town wants to do some type of assessment of the property after the school is empty.
Right.
And what you're gonna use it for reuse, that's why they left it on.
I got a feeling there'll be some discussion on this one, Sean, most definitely.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, why don't we save the discussion for
go
town
ahead
meeting?
with Bill's question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bill, I didn't see.
It's, I don't know if that's appropriate for this particular article or not, but I think the town should have an independent survey of the McQuon School prior to, and not wait until that being turned over, the condition of it, everything that's going on. And I don't know if that's something appropriate for this article or not, but, just so everybody has a heads up.
They had one?
Well, they-
They did one?
Well, 4 years ago, they did
A
a
new school?
an assessment on the
that
McQuon
too
School.
old?
That was the whole feasibility study that they did,
Feasibility
from top to
study.
bottom. Every system in the school, subsystem, everything,
Mhm.
totally complete.
My concern is the condition of it now versus what we can expect when they turn it over to us.
Well, we've made some improvements to the school since that time too, Bruce, right, from the three.
Oh, over the past week,
We fixed the roof and stuff, so
a whole
yeah.
new floor in the cafeteria.
Yeah, there's gonna
some of
be,
the corridors.
there'll be a lot of discussion on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that if the Board of Selectmen, the FinCom, and school committee can come to some resolution, at least on number one,
Put a new roof on.
that would reduce a lot of the discussion.
Well, they said they were gonna close it in 18, so that would be September, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I understand, Bill, your point, I do. My position typically would probably not to spend the $25,000 on this. And because we have the feasibility study on it, which clearly in detail outlined those items that the school needed done, repairs from the
Oh, yeah.
boilers down to the windows, to the sprinkler system. And there was a pretty significant amount of money paid for that.
It was a $500,000 study for
But we
for
hadn't-
both schools.
Right, and we had made some improvements to, like you guys understand, to the floors. Remember some of the tiles that we had
Was
done?
windows,
Windows,
roofing.
yep.
there's been a
Extensive
bunch
work
of
to the boilers,
Yeah.
yeah.
If the ceiling fans were backed out in the final line, could you back out the doors from the Quan in the third line? Unless there's some state requirement that you have to have.
The problem with the doors, we asked them, it's a security issue.
And I don't have my stuff with me to talk to school committee, but it's a scary issue.
Yeah.
But people being
We already
able to-
went there, Sean.
But if I'm not
Trying
mistaken,
to avoid one more
I
thing.
think it's more the card access system than it is the physical doors.
Well, that's easily explained. I think the first
Yeah,
item is the one
Yeah,
that
it can be-
people are gonna get hung up on, so.
Commission
but I will
engineering.
tell you, with regard to the McQuon doors, I spoke to Ernie on that, okay? And I said to him, well, don't the doors lock now? And he's telling me yes, but there was a door by there's one door, I'm not gonna say where, okay, publicly, but there's one door that he had to do some repair work on it, and he had to remove some of the locking mechanism. And he suggested what we could do instead is put in a new door, which would be a lot less than what we're offering here. Now, people are gonna say, well, card access is security, so forth, so on, right? And yes, it is. But it's also a good mechanism for using for logging people in and out of the building, right, so you know who's in. The problem with it is that, I swipe my card and I hold the door open for so-and-so to walk through, right? We're still not controlling that unless you did a man trap and all that. But the point is that you still have those vulnerabilities. As long as the doors lock, I think you'd still be able to secure the building to some degree, right? And I also know that in the later on articles, there's cameras that they're talking about, that we talked about this. You'll see it in one of the other itemized items, in one of the other itemized articles, so. There'll be more on this. I would like to see, at the very least, an itemized list on what it would cost from McQuon, Indian Head, and Middle, just in case, Sean, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
So I'll make a motion that we not recommend item 1, but we do recommend item 2, 3, and 4 on Article 9.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion. So Kenny, you're not recommending 1, and you're recommending 2, and
3 and 4.
3 and 4. Okay. Okay, further discussion. My opinion is if, I may vote against it, and the reason why simply is because I don't know if I wanna put ceiling fans in either one of the schools. I don't know if we're gonna get our
And
money
Jim, I
back.
gotta be honest with you, and again, I don't have my paperwork.
Yeah,
For some reason, I think we took the ceiling fans out altogether.
I
But
thought so.
don't quote me on that, but you were at the
I do
last
recall,
meeting. I
yeah,
thought we took them all out. But
Yep.
again, I don't have stuff to refer back to.
right.
You took
But-
them out, you took the whole ceiling fan thing out completely?
I'm not, yeah, but I'm not going to,
Okay,
I'm
We
not
can
going
always,
to
we
stand on that.
meet before the
right,
meeting.
and I didn't bring my
We can always
stuff down,
change it.
Yep.
But the ceiling fans, it says just Indian Head in the middle school, it doesn't say McQuon.
because
No, I know.
they took McQuon out. The
Right, okay.
communication I received
So
is they
then
wanted to take
which one are
McQuon
you
out.
talking
But
about?
I'll defer to.
Did you think that included McQuon?
No, even if they wanted to put ceiling fans there, I still may not to, but you know what, this is only to recommend, why don't we move on the motion to recommend, and we'll open it for further discussion on the floor later on, okay? Okay, all those in favor? 5-0 to recommend without the engineering assessment.
Recommending 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
That make sense?
I thought McQuon was already out because it only said.
No, it's okay, Kenny, you know, and no worries.
We can always amend it.
Yep, we can amend it out on the floor at town meeting. All right, Article 10. This is another one for the school district, Mike. Are you reading this, or?
Sure. Unless you want to read it.
Yeah,
He
but
doesn't have it.
I don't
Oh,
have
I'm
the-
sorry, then I will read it. I move the town vote to transfer $42,985 from free cash for the repairs at the Whitman Hanson Regional High School.
Kenny? Kenny, second it.
No,
But he
we
doesn't have
don't
to.
have to
Just
vote
the
on this one.
selectmen.
This is just a, yeah, we're done, Donnie. With the, make sure.
Going to 11?
We'll let you know
For
when you get
special
them.
town meeting, we're done. No more, we don't have to do any votes.
Going to 11 then?
Yeah, yeah. And these numbers might be adjusted, is that correct, Mike?
The numbers you have right now reflect the adjustment.
I got you. Okay, good. All right, Article 11.
I move the town vote to transfer $25,000 from free cash to be added to stabilization.
Proposed by the Board of Selectmen. Article 12,
School.
proposed by the Board of Selectmen.
I move that the town vote to transfer $10,000 from free cash to be added to the regional schools capital stabilization fund as established by the October 2014 special town meeting.
Very good. Article 13. That's probably you, Kenny?
Nope.
Don't fix Bruce, I got,
I move that the town vote to wage and personnel bylaws, Article 2-12, classification and compensation, Section 1A, by deleting at the end of the paragraph the number 12 and insert in its place the number 11. It's a housekeeping matter.
Okay, Article 14, I move the town vote to amend wage and personnel bylaw, Articles 2-12, classification compensation, Section 1C, subsection C, by inserting at the end of the paragraph the following, and the highway surveyor.
Another housekeeping article. Article 15.
I move the town vote to amend the wage and personnel bylaws, Article 2-12, classification and compensation by deleting Section 7F in its entirety.
Thank you, Bill. Article 16.
I move the town vote to amend the wage and personnel bylaw Article -12, classification and compensation section, 12C holidays by making the minor Grammatical edits and printed in the warrant, as printed in the warrant.
Thank you. Article 17.
I move the town vote to amend the wage and personnel bylaw, Article 2-12, classification and compensation, Section 12D, vacation, Section A, subsection, by deleting the last line and inserting in its place the following: all vacation time shall be calculated based on the employee's regular weekly scheduled hours.
It's another housekeeping.
Housekeeping article.
Article 18.
Let me check, make sure it's not me. Article 18,
Sorry, Kenny.
my book's a little screwed up.
No pressure.
I move the town vote to amend the wage and personnel bylaws, Article 2-12, classification compensation, by deleting sections 11A through 11E in its entirety and inserting the new sections 11A through 11E as printed in the warrant.
Thank you, Kenny. Boy, Mary, I must have gave you a good Christmas gift. You haven't given me anything. I'll have to remember that next year. Article 19. Who's up?
I see how it is
Bill?
now.
I move the town vote to amend the wage and personnel bylaws, Article 2-12, classification and compensation, by deleting Section 12B, subsection B, in its entirety, and inserting in its place the following. Want to read that, or do we?
You'll have to read that as,
Okay.
as part of the motion.
Employees classified as
no,
permanent,
not tonight.
I'm sorry, not tonight, or at the
Well, he
meeting?
could have
No,
if he
that's
wanted.
actually part of the motion. What do you do? Beth, you looking at that?
I'm sorry.
I didn't think
I was
so.
answering Mary, told me to get down here.
I know. Do you want me to change this motion to do as printed in the warrant? This is a verbiage change that we're adding to the,
Is it the same thing that is printed in the warrant? I mean,
it doesn't, but I can because it's kind of a lengthy paragraph.
This is the whole
it's not
program.
printed in the warrant, then we can't do it.
Oh, yes.
That's what I'm asking you, is it-
Yes, it is printed in the
It's
warrant.
printed correctly in the warrant, then yeah, should we do it that way?
So I'll change your motion as printed. So you don't have to do the whole paragraph.
As printed in the warrant.
There you go.
Thanks, Bill. Article 20. Water Commissioners. Somebody from the Water Commission?
I move the town to pass over Article 20.
Pass over. Thank you. Does that conclude?
That's
All
it.
right.
Yep. You get through the,
We're on a roll,
You
huh?
do the special, yeah. It's before 8
Okay.
o'clock.
We will now begin with the annual town meeting. Lauren, and I would, why don't we begin? Is everybody ready? Everybody got it in front of them? This is the
Oh, yeah.
blue sheet, all right? So this is the annual town meeting. You good, Mike?
I'm sorry.
You good with us? Yeah, okay, here we go.
now I'm ready.
Article 1, who's up for
I got
Article
it.
1?
I move the town vote to hear any reports of the various town offices, committees, and special committees.
Thank you, Donnie. Let's make sure, did we recommend everything? Okay, so just as a note to you guys, 5, 6, and 7, the Board of Selectmen need to vote on. We also need to vote on item 14, which was the capital improvement matrix, and I believe Article 18. So when we come to those articles, we will have to vote, okay? So Article 5 will be the first one for the Selectmen to vote as recommended. Bruce, ready for Article 2?
Article 2. I move that the town vote to authorize the treasurer collector to enter into compensating balance agreements during fiscal 2018 as permitted by Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53F.
Okay, thank you. And Article 3, I move the town vote to transfer $20,000 from overlay surplus for the treasurer collector's tax title account. And moving on to Article 4,
I move the town vote to fix the salary and compensation of all paid elected officers and committees of all towns as follows, of the town as follows. Town clerk, fiscal 17, 65,807. Fiscal 18, 67,205. Tree warden for 17, 2,995, and 18, 3,055.
So Kenny, what was the fiscal year 18 for town clerk?
1867, 205.
I have 187.
It's, and when he reads the explanation, it says that the salary was adjusted because it's incorrectly printed in the warrant.
Got you, okay. I didn't see, I didn't have the same explanation, sorry.
No, you don't, because Kenny's the one moving it, so
Okay,
you'll have
cool.
that.
Okay, Articles, that was what, Article 4?
That was 4, yeah.
Article 5.
I move the town vote to determine what sums of money the town will raise and appropriate by taxation, transfer from free cash, transfer from town ambulance funds, water department revenue, water surplus, Title V Special Revenue Fund, the MWPAT loan repayments receipts reserved for appropriation, conservation notice of intent fund overlay surplus, fund balance reserved for reduction of future excluded debt and election fund, chapters 503, acts of 1983, to defray charges and expenses of the town, including debt and interest, and to provide the reserve fund for the 2018 fiscal year.
Okay, this is an item that we need to vote on as selectmen to recommend.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, the town accountant and I are pleased to be able to present a balanced budget. I don't know if the accountant wishes to address that. I believe that we are fairly comfortable.
If I can just interrupt, Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
in
Right.
regards to the budget that finance provided in our meeting upstairs, in conjunction with town accountant, we're talking about some other possibilities in regards to our recommendation regarding the line item for the Norfolk Aggie education. And I would like to have a further discussion with the town administrator on our final recommendations for that.
Okay. This is on Article 5, right?
Correct.
Because I have here voted 3-1 to recommend. Are you saying that it's gonna change? FinCom?
Our underlying discussion was in regards to that specific line item. Our recommendation last week had been, the original budget was 265 and change.
Okay.
Our recommendation was to lower that to 199.
190.
Rationale being that the original budget was based off of 11 students, and we received notice that actually it's 8.
It's 8 students.
And the difference being,
Yeah,
the difference between the original
revenue.
budget and proposed.
So what I would recommend at this point, Mr. Chairman, is the board not give a recommendation. I'll have discussions, the accountant and I and FinCom, and the board can make their recommendation at its meeting prior to the annual town meeting.
Okay. Will we as selectmen vote to recommend it at that time too, Mike, or not?
At that time.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
It's line 57.
Okay.
So Mike, you have a new recommendation that you want me to put on the spreadsheet?
Yeah, we had some additional discussions, and that are also going to, not completely get ahead of ourselves, but also a different recommendation regarding Article 20. And we can catch up when this is over.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, we have also with us the, are we moving right to Article 6? We're passing over, is that correct?
Still, if we could still just be on Article 5 for a second.
Sure, Mike.
See, there's
I mean,
a
Sean.
disagreement between the FinCom and the selectmen on line items 58 and 61. I didn't know if the selectmen are going to propose an amendment.
58, so 58 and 61.
Or will you just go with the FinCom recommendation?
58 would be.
No, that's engineering
Engineering,
expenses.
Engineering
5,000,
expenses.
of which FinCom's recommendation is to zero that out and reappropriate to snow and ice, increasing that from 275
To
to 280.
280, so you moved the 5,000 from the
Correct.
expenses engineering to the snow and ice.
Our rationale basically in regards to funding for any of those, that we would support those through line item, reserve fund transfers, given the proposed budget for the reserve fund for the following fiscal year.
Let's see.
Mr. Chairman, I have no problems with that.
Don't we need at least $1 in there in order to transfer funds to it? If it's zero, how do you transfer funds into a zero line? Don't you need a dollar, and at least a dollar in a line? You
I
don't?
didn't think so. I thought as long as the line.
As long as
We
it's a
zeroed
line.
it out at last year's meeting as well.
Yeah.
So then, okay. I don't see any
You
problem with
don't
that.
need it?
No.
So you want us, Sean, are you looking for us to vote on that particular item?
If you'd like to, and then that, I mean, it'd be nice to just be able to say.
Say that we have.
The two board attorneys.
Is he okay with that? He's your accountant.
Todd, you're okay with, he says yes too.
Great, thank you.
Sure. So I
That was
would
old school, 77, so
I
it's
would-
changed.
entertain a motion to recommend the Finance Committee's point of moving the $5,000 from engineering expenses, line 58, to line 6,
8,000, isn't it?
No, 5,000.
5,000,
Okay.
to line 61, snow and ice highway.
Second, so moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion or questions? All right, so this is on page 3 of 4 on your green sheets, guys.
Yep.
Okay? All right, motion has been made and seconded. No further discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. We are in agreement.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just to quickly get to the bottom in regards to the remainder of the budget, with the exception of the follow-up item in regards to the Norfolk Aggie issue, FinCom is in recommendation with all other line items as recommended by the board.
Gotcha. With the exception of line 11, you said, correct?
No,
Which one was it? 57?
50, yeah.
Yep, there it is. Okay, I'm with you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. So are we okay to move on to Article 6?
Yep.
Sean, how you feeling? Good? All right, Bob. We're good to go. Article 6.
I move the town vote to pass over.
We're gonna pass over on Article 6. This is the, just for those at home, this is the override question, so we're not going to have it. It's a good, it's gonna be,
It's too bad too, because, you know, I always used to like to have an override, whether we needed one or not, because it always
Do you want to put the
guarantees a
actual
good turnout at the
article
election.
they're passing over?
okay,
You know
so
that, don't you?
I expected people to cheer and clap, but I guess not, right? Okay.
So the board needs to make a recommendation on
Article 6?
Article 6.
Problem now
to
is
pass
getting
over.
a quorum.
Yeah.
Well, this is it.
Yeah, that's it,
You have
Sean,
an
isn't that
override, it
true?
always guarantees a good turnout at, not only a good turnout at the town meeting, but
Also, we
an
still have to
excellent
vote on it,
turnout at
even
the
though it passes
polls.
over?
Yeah,
Now
vote
you're
to
gonna
pass
be
over.
lucky to
Oh,
get
gotcha.
between 800 and 1,000 people
what
at
article is
the,
it?
at the polls.
Article 6.
Article 6.
6. I'd like to make a motion to
Pass over.
Article 6.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor? 5-0. I thought Bruce was gonna say no.
I almost did.
I know. Moving on to Article 7, which we have to also vote on. Mike, is this one of ours, or, no, it's Bruce.
I move to pass over Article 7.
Pass over. This is an item to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate transfer available funds, fund collective bargaining agreements with any one or more of the following employee organizations as so printed in the warrant. And,
I'd like to make a motion to pass over Article 7.
motion has been made and
Second.
seconded by Mr. Howard. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Terrific. Article 8, this is the Rec Commission. This-
I move the town to vote to raise and appropriate the following sums of money to operate the recreation department during fiscal year 2018 under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53, F and a half, as printed in the warrant.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no, it should be 18.
18, okay.
Yeah.
We
I don't know
okay?
why yours says that.
Just on the,
Yeah, the
on the
year.
printing of ours, it says
Typo.
2017.
Typo.
Who did the motion for 17?
I did the motion for 18.
18.
I did the motion for 18, but it's printed as 17.
Right.
That's a typo.
That's what I was discussing with you earlier today.
Yep.
So,
Just make, okay, that's 18.
Did we not change yours out?
Mine wasn't changed out,
Oh.
apparently, yeah, okay.
that's okay.
So they're reading it. Can I ask you, Kate, I posted the warrant with the wrong fiscal year in here, but I do this informational warrant. Can I make that correction in the informational warrant?
So you posted, the actual warrant that was posted
Yeah.
was posted in.
Well, it says fiscal year 17, and it should have been fiscal year 18. Yeah. So when I do the informational warrant, can I just change that to 18? So
On the informational warrant, yes.
Okay. So I'll change it in the informational warrant, and then everybody's motions will be the same, so they're not saying, that's a long one fiscal year.
I think,
Yes.
Mary, would you have to do the same thing for Article 9?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. Not a big deal, right? Thank you. So we've read that one.
On this article, Anne Marie, are you going to make an explanation, or does it require?
Yeah, there is an explanation if somebody, I mean, should I read the explanation?
Not right now.
No.
At the meeting, yes, yes, sorry.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, I will,
If it's something new, you can just summarize, you don't have to repeat it.
You might get beat up if you read it now.
Right, okay.
I mean, it's only 2 sentences. 3 sentences. Gosh. It's only 3 sentences? What happens if you read it now?
No.
All right, okay. Okay, Article 9 by the Board of Health.
That's me. I move the town to vote and raise and appropriate the following sums of money to operate the transfer station during fiscal year 2018 under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53F, as printed in the warrant. And a half, excuse me.
3.5.
Lord knows.
Thank you, Arlen. Article 10, the CPC.
I move the
Laura?
town vote to appropriate or reserve from fiscal year 2018 Community Preservation Fund estimated annual revenues and the amounts recommended by the Community Preservation Committee for committee administrative expenses, community preservation projects, and other expenses in fiscal year 2018, with each item to be considered a separate appropriation as printed in the warrant.
Okay, very
Laura, are
nice.
you gonna have those printed out for us, your
We just,
motions?
Shirley just did those today,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
But now I'm actually seeing corrections that I want to make, so I'll probably send you one.
Okay.
And, okay,
Okay, we good?
so, yep.
All right, moving on to Article 11, CPC.
I move the town vote to appropriate $25,000 from the Community Housing Reserve to the Hanson Housing Authority for the purposes of developing a housing production.
Thank you. Moving on to Article 12, CPC, again, Laura.
I move the town vote to appropriate $10,000 from Historic Resources Community Preservation Funds for the purposes of repairing and painting the exterior of the town-owned schoolhouse number 4 located at 565 Main Street, Hanson, Mass.
Article 13, CPC.
I move the town vote to appropriate $8,000 from Open Space Reserve to the Conservation Commission for the purposes of improving access and passive recreational opportunities at the town-owned Poor Meadow Grove Conservation Area.
And moving on to Article 14, which requires the selectmen to recommend, we have to vote on it. As a point of interest, finance has recommended it. So,
Motion to recommend.
Second.
this is the purple sheets you should see in here. Okay. Yep, the CPC. We also got them earlier this week, if I'm not mistaken, right, Mike? Wasn't it Tuesday? No, last week, excuse me.
The only question I had on that, Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
is that the capital improvement program is supposed to coincide with the funding of the operational budget. So I can't see how it does that if most of the recommendations in the capital improvement plan
Mm-hmm.
are all included in fiscal year 2018.
For who?
For everybody.
regional school?
No, there's $12 million, there's $12,718,621
621. Mm-hmm.
that are prioritized for 2018. It's impossible. You don't have 12 million. They should be spread out. So, that was Rich LaCamera's big thing with the capital improvement program.
I
Remember?
understand. Yes, I do.
So I couldn't, I can't support it on that basis, because basically it should be spread out over the 5 or 6 year period.
Right.
Chairman, that was finances.
Concern too?
issue with it, of the fact that, yes, we're not gonna be able
You
to
can't.
have $12 million in 1 year.
In 1 year,
Yeah.
fine. So we're looking at this more as a list.
And
Yeah, and it's not
the
because-
response back and the feedback was that it's not and the rationale for our vote to recommend it was that we're accepting items that are being listed in consideration for funding,
Yes.
not necessarily a guarantee that those are going to be funded.
During the.
As opposed to if it was something that was passed over and will be carried into the next year.
I gotcha.
Yeah, the only reason I would be against it, because the way that it's set up here, it's actually in violation of the capital improvement bylaw, which says it has to be coordinated with the funding for
funding.
operations, what money is available
Mhm.
for capital improvements and what money is available for the operations. That's the way it says specifically in the capital improvement bylaw. So if you look at capital improvement bylaw, there's no way I could support this the way it is.
Is it something we can get corrected before town meeting and vote on it then?
Well, the capital improvement,
Not like,
the capital improvement committee would have to meet before town meeting, which is next week, and then,
they'd have to meet with the school
Yeah.
department, they'd have to meet with all the relative
well,
departments.
no, they don't have to. They've already got the information from all those departments, and they know what their recommendations are from the departments. They're the ones that are supposed to space it according to the year, and then they come before us, and we approve it, and they come before finance, and finance approves it. That's the way it works. So they have all the information. They just didn't perform their assigned duties in accordance with the bylaw.
They didn't spread the dollars out.
And spread it out, and it's been prioritized according to how much money we have available for 2018,
Right.
and put the rest of the recommended items in 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23 accordingly.
Right. Mike, would it be okay if you were to make a note to the capital improvement matrix members, chairman, of Mr. Young's concerns? Because these are, I don't know how the rest of you folks feel about this, but I feel it's a valid point.
It seems deceptive. I mean, almost $5 million are for McQuon School improvements, which aren't going to happen now.
Not gonna happen.
So I mean, that's a lot of the money.
Yeah, and they're all in 2018, which is never, ever gonna happen in a million years at this point.
My impression has
I
always
mean,
been,
it's-
in a little bit of time that I've been here, and only gone through this process once in terms of the matrix, my impressions have been similar to Mike's, that, and I'm not saying whether this is right or whether this is wrong, but my impression always been this has been basically a list that gets rolled over every year. It's a list that, I don't want to say a wish list, because that's the wrong sort of vernacular to use. But in a sense, it's what we would like to see, or what the town would like to see, or what the Capital Improvements Committee would like to see go forward. However, I do believe that it falls back onto what is actually appropriated within the budget itself or within the articles. So, again, and it does sound a little convoluted to me as well, but I'm more than happy to have a discussion with the chairman and other members of the Capital Improvements Committee.
Oh, yeah,
And try to clarify that.
will you make sure that every member of the Capital Improvement Committee gets a copy of 2-12 of the general bylaws, and reads the bylaws and understand what they really mean? Because we seem to go through this almost every year. All they have to do is read their bylaw, know what it means, understand it, and then perform the duties in accordance with what's set in the bylaw. It's as simple as that. That's why we have bylaws.
I think unfortunately, we've come to a point where we start to, I understand where they're coming from. It's basically a list that we keep
It's not a
revolving each year.
list.
I understand
It
your
never
point.
was a list.
I'm
No,
not-
that's not my point. It's what the bylaw says.
Bruce.
It's not Bruce Young's point. It's what the bylaw says.
And I understand what you're saying is what I'm saying to you, but I'm also understanding their point of view as well. Not that it's
What is their
right,
point of view?
that they're seeing it as a list, Bruce.
It's not a list. You want me to read the bylaw? I got a copy of it right here. You
No,
want
I
me to read
don't.
it?
Bruce, I don't. My-
Well, look, we either do this according to the bylaw, or we ignore the bylaw as if it doesn't exist, and we accept their rationale that it's a list that doesn't really mean anything. Let's just slap all these things in 2018 and don't do our jobs and turn it into the Board of Selectmen. How can you possibly vote for something like that?
I'm of the same opinion that this has to be corrected. I know it has to be
All right,
corrected,
so
okay?
don't say
But my
that it-
point is that I see their point from where they
They
came
have
from.
no point.
They do, and I'm going with it, Bruce, and I'm not gonna get violent or go any further on this issue, all right? I'm not taking any more questions
All
on
right,
it.
so we don't
I'm
have,
ending
the-
it.
then we don't have a 2-12 bylaw then, to go by.
I have a motion to, do I hear a motion
We
to
have a
recommend?
motion and a second to recommend Article.
Do we have a motion, Mary? What was it?
By Dawn, a second by Kenny to recommend Article.
Okay. We have a motion in front of us that we have to act on.
We don't have to recommend it.
As selectmen, we're bound to the vote on the motion.
No, we're not. No, it's in our court now, Jim. It's in our court. We can either recommend it or not recommend
And
it.
that's what I'm saying,
And
Bruce.
if we recommend it, we accept what they did, okay? So if you can accept what they did, and they're non-adherence to a bylaw, that's fine. That may be fine with you, but it's not fine with me.
I'm not gonna get into the details on it, Bruce, and I'm not gonna have my arm twisted here in public on this issue, okay? I understand the intent of the people and what they were trying to do. I also understand that there was a mistake made on this report.
Well, there's no mistake here. What's the mistake?
The mistake is that they didn't spread the numbers out, and they didn't adhere to the bylaw of 212.
There you go.
Well, then I'm right, thank you. I have a motion made and seconded. I'd like to call to vote on this. Again, I understand what's been done. I also understand the mistake that's there. But I think the intention was there, and I know, the road to hell is paved on good intentions, right? Okay,
Oh, please.
whatever. So we're gonna call to vote as now. All those in favor of recommending the capital improvement list as stated in the warrant?
I think we need to talk to
All
them.
those,
I think we talked about it enough.
I understand, I think I've been clear on what I'm trying to say here, folks, okay?
Yeah, but you.
Those against,
You're very clear.
3-2, Mary.
You're very clear. You're in favor of non-adherence with the bylaw of the town of Hanson. That's what you're in favor of.
Moving on.
Mr. Chairman, technically, I haven't read the motion. The board debated whether it was going to recommend moving forward. Just for the sake of procedure, I move the town to adopt the capital improvement program as presented by the Capital Improvement Committee.
This is for Article 14.
Yeah.
If there are any objections to the amendment that Mike stated, please, let's say so now. Do we have to re-vote on it, Mike?
No, you just had the discussion as to whether or not you wanted to recommend the article.
Right.
You had done that before I was able to read the article, just going through the procedure, reading every article.
I understand. And I believe we're keeping in sync with FinCom as well, Mike. I understand with the intent versus what needs to be done. Fixed, okay? Article 16. 15, forgive me.
I move the town vote to transfer $493,960 from free cash for items 1 through 5 with the amount in item 5 to reflect $30,000 and to raise and appropriate $85,000 for items 6 and 7 to various department capital accounts for the following items.
And these are line items, correct?
Once again, I'll go line item by line item. If anybody holds, we can have a discussion or explanation.
That was Article 15, yes.
So I just want to point out that the school had made some changes to this chart, and one of them being they removed the security
Cameras
cameras.
All of them
So
or
that was-
portion?
No, the ones from
at
McQuon.
McQuon.
That was, so now it's 30,000, that's why the motion was read the way it was. 30, item number 5, security cameras is now reduced to 30,000. And then we're gonna be doing, the funding source for items 6 and 7 will now be raise and appropriate.
As opposed to free cash.
Okay. Okay, so the funding source for 6 and 7 will be raise and appropriate instead of free cash. And Article 15, line item 5, will have the removal of the McQuon School updated security cameras, right? I think the intent of the item, I'm hearing talk that they might use the the existing Indian Head cameras. Is that right, Rob, where they might be able to transfer them over to McQuon?
I know there's been discussions
On
on
that.
I'm not sure.
It's not finalized yet, right. So that would explain why they're going that detours. All right. Moving on. Now to Article 16, correct?
I move the town vote to transfer $171,913 from free cash for item 1, turf field replacement, and raise and appropriate $14,158 for item 3 to replace hot water heaters to capital accounts for the Whitman Hanson Regional High School, and to pass over item 2, roadway repairs.
Oh, they're gonna pass over this, yeah? This is for the 84,000, right?
Yes.
Now, so you're aware, the board voted 5-0 to recommend this. Do you want to change your recommendation to pass over item 2, similar to what the finance committee did?
Did the Finance Committee vote that way too, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, we voted to recommend 1 and 3 and to pass over 2.
Okay. Question, Mr. Hickey?
Mr. Chairman, on the line number 1, for the new turf field, is that our portion?
Yes.
And does Whitman pay the rest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
What was it, 40.45 or something? That's our percentage that we don't pay on it? They, and Women Beds pay the rest, yes. I think that's a good idea, Mary. Okay, so I would entertain a motion to revote on Article 16 from the Board of Selectmen to recommend by passing for line 1 and 3 and passing over line item 2.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion? So that'll reduce that article by the 84,945. Nothing further? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Perfect. This one, Kenny. Moving on to Article 17, Jim again. I move the town vote to authorize Board of Selectmen to accept and enter into a contract for the expenditure of any allocated or to be allocated funds by the Commonwealth and/or county for the construction, reconstruction, and improvements of town roads. Said some money to be expended under the direction of the Board of Selectmen. And we voted on this one, right, Mary? Yes, we did. Matter of fact, we don't have, no, it's Article 18 is the last one that's on hold, okay. So moving on, Article 18.
I move the town vote to pass over Article 18. I'll make a motion to pass over Article 18.
Donnie, you want to second it?
Oh, second.
And this is the, okay, McQuon Street rehab, okay.
And we held that, so we'll have to make a recommendation on that.
At town meeting?
No, now.
Oh, we just did.
No, you passed over it as, that's what you read the motion?
Yep.
But now we need-
And then
Now
I made a
we-
motion
Oh,
to.
you did? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I must have been napping, I'm sorry.
What's weird is he made a recommendation to pass over, yes,
Right.
right?
And then I made a motion to. Right
pass
on.
over, right.
Yep.
From the selectmen, so, it's confusing a bit, so, thank you. Further discussion on this, anything from anybody? Motion has been made and seconded, correct?
That's
Yes, it was by Mr. Howard. All those in favor to pass over Article 18?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Bruce said yes. Article 19, the Conservation Commission. Phil?
Okay.
Hi, Phil.
I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 to replenish the conservation fund for open space management and related conservation purposes.
Thank you very much. Article 20, again, Conservation Commission.
I move the town vote to appropriate and authorize as provided in Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and 1/2, retention of grants and fees generated by the Hanson Conservation Commission's Forestry Stewardship Program to be used to manage and maintain the town's forests located on various conservation lands on a year-round basis, and to establish a revolving fund for such purposes, from which the Conservation Commission will be authorized to make expenditures and shall have an upper limit amount of $15,000.
Thank you, Phil. And we have,
I'm sorry, that means 15,000?
15.
Okay, I have 30.
We had a discussion with the Board of Selectmen, it was very helpful, very educational, and we decided to scale it back, and that's still a feasible number. So we hope that's palatable.
Terrific.
We have 15 also shown in here. FinCom, you recognize it as 15 also, right?
Well, this was discussed, Mr. Chairman, at our meeting earlier, where our original recommendation had been a recommendation not to recommend,
Mm-hmm.
but that
Yeah.
was subsequently reopened, given the change in the amount. Lengthy discussion in regards to the general concept in regards to revolving funds.
Mhm.
However, we did come to a new vote with a vote of 3-1 to recommend the article.
Thank you.
But if I may, Mr. Chair, with a question on this, because how it reads, is the revolving fund with a limit of 15,000 or the expenditures to 15,000?
Mine says here, will authorize to make expenditures and have an upper limit of an amount of 15,000.
So the question was, for us is it a maximum amount of dollars in there, no more than 15,000? Or any expenditure be no more than 15,000?
The Conservation Commission envisions a maximum content of the fund as being 15,000.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
But
This is me.
Yes, hi.
Hi, so this is a revolving account, and under the new Municipal Modernization Act, it has to be done in the form of a bylaw. It wasn't caught. And if you go to, what article is this section on revolving funds?
29, I believe.
29. It should technically be tucked in that article, or you would have to create this as an individual bylaw, so at this point, it's not in the proper form.
So I think what you're suggesting is that we should probably pass over and readdress this in the October town meeting?
Yes,
That's your recommendation?
I would recommend that.
That would be fine with conservation. We don't have anything imminent that would be a problem with that.
Okay.
So we can regroup, re-educate ourselves and prepare maybe for October. So we'll recommend to pass over when it comes to that point, town meeting, if it's still in the warrant.
Mike, FinCom good with that? What are you thinking? Yeah?
No, we're fine with that.
All right, cool. All right, thank you for that, pointing that out, right?
So do we want to vote to pass over?
So we would,
So I'll make a motion to pass over Article 20.
Second.
motion has been made and seconded to pass over Article 20 as it should be incorporated as a bylaw. So noted. Any further questions on this? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. 5-0, recommend to pass over, Mary, on Article 20. Article, and it will be, well, if we're gonna do that one, did you say Article 29? So that means we're gonna have to pass over 29 as well, correct?
No, 29's fine.
Oh, 29 is correct, I got you. Okay, I'm with you. Article 21, this is,
I move the town vote to transfer $75,000 from water revenue to be added to the funds appropriated under Article 16 water meters of the October 6, 1997 special town meeting.
that was Article 21, thank you, Donnie. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think the Board of Selectmen have.
Actually,
Sean?
if you could just, when it comes to town meeting, just make sure you read all the way to the end there.
Okay.
For the
Well, I
purpose
was
of
gonna-
purchasing new water meters
Yeah,
and related equipment.
all right.
Thank you.
For the purpose of purchasing new water meters
Sure.
and related equipment.
There you go.
Also, I move the town vote to transfer $70,000 from water surplus to purchase a new truck for the water department.
That was Article 22, thank you, Mr. Howard, proposed by the Board of Water Commissioners. Article 23,
I move the town vote to transfer $20,000 from water revenue to be added to the 1992 town meeting water emergency fund, Article 15.
and Article 24 also.
I move the town vote to transfer $150,000 from water surplus to purchase a new backhoe for the water department.
Thank you, Donnie. One more, we're getting our money's worth out of you tonight.
I vote the town vote to transfer $100,000 from water surplus to replace several water gates throughout the town's water system.
That are not working.
Right, or broken.
Okay. Very good. Moving on. Article 26, is this by the planning board?
do it for Joe, he lost his voice.
Thank you, Laura.
I move the town vote to amend the town of Hanson, County of Plymouth, Massachusetts land use regulations, zoning bylaw, section 6, by adding subsection N, large-scale ground-mounted solar photovoltaic installations, to designate requirements for as-of-right siting of renewable or alternative energy generating facilities, and to amend the town of Hanson, County of Plymouth, Massachusetts land use regulation zoning bylaw table of contents section to reflect these amendments to the zoning bylaws as printed in the warrant.
And this particular item is quite lengthy.
Do you have to read all of that?
No. As printed in the warrant.
I would rule someone out of order.
But it does require a 2/3 vote, right? And Sean, if I'm not mistaken, is it possible if somebody had obviously you want the people who come to town meeting to be well advised of this item. So if they had a particular issue with any one of the items in here, that they could present it clearly to you, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so we need our folks at home and coming to the meeting to make sure that they read this Article 26. We also have another one, Article 27. This is a proposal by the Planning Board and Fire Chief.
I move the town vote to amend the town of Hanson, County of Plymouth, Massachusetts land use regulations zoning bylaw, section 7B, by adding subsection 7 to designate access requirements for driveways in excess of 150 feet in length that provide the principal means of vehicular access to a public right-of-way to a one- or two-family residential structure, and to amend the town of Hanson, County of Plymouth, Massachusetts land use regulations zoning bylaw table of contents section to reflect these amendments to the zoning bylaws as printed in the warrant.
Okay. And again, if there are any questions on this particular article, folks should bring it. Laurie, am I wrong, but isn't most driveways, like pork chop lots, don't they need at least 40 feet wide access to go down?
40?
But
No.
not traveled way.
Traveled way?
That's frontage requirement.
Frontage, okay, gotcha, okay. Okay, and no further questions on that, I guess let's move on, right? Article 28.
I move the town vote to amend the town of Hanson, County of Plymouth, Massachusetts land use regulations zoning bylaw, section 6, by adding the subsection M, temporary moratorium on sale and distribution of marijuana, and also amend the town of Hanson, County of Plymouth, Mass, land use regulations zoning bylaw table of contents section to reflect these amendments to the zoning bylaws as printed in the warrant.
Yes. No worries.
We recently, the Solicitors Association recently received a memo from the AG's office, and they had indicated that they would be receptive to a moratorium, which was January 1st of that same year. So out of an abundance of caution, we'd advise to amend that, given that you have to present your bylaws to the AG's office, and they've indicated that they would agree to that. And in the event we're not ready to proceed with dealing with marijuana at that time, we can go ahead and file another article to extend it beyond that. It all depends upon what the Cannabis Commission does at that point.
So I'm sorry, I'm not clear. You're saying that we should pass over this?
No, don't pass over it, but you'll have to make a motion to amend it to from June 30th, 2019, which is paragraph 3 of the temporary moratorium,
Okay,
to January 1st.
gotcha.
So we're gonna need a motion to amend.
That's exactly.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
And
I
what
see.
section is that under?
So if you go
Under-
to, it's page 19 of mine, if you go to section 3 of the
Temporary moratorium?
temporary moratorium, it's called, it's called temporary moratorium. It's like
Yes.
the fourth line down, June 30th,
Should be effective
2019.
June, okay, so you wanna make it January,
January 1st,
January
2019.
Gotcha.
Make a motion that we amend that to January 1st.
so I can have Bill, after this motion's moved, he can further vote to, move to amend, section 3,
Yes.
to
So we
January 1st, 2019.
Got to vote the first one.
First, yeah.
Yeah.
You need a motion for that? Motion to vote the,
I'll do it up and put it in your book, and you can follow up with that.
Okay. So that makes sense. So under item 3, temporary moratorium, we have legal. By the way, I know your last name is Fedorov, right?
Fedorov,
Your first name is? Kate. I don't know what I was gonna, so for the people at home, she's our legal representative, okay? Not many people may know that, but work with Jay. Comes highly recommended. Thank you. Thank you, Kate. So we would change, the moratorium shall be in effect through June 30th, 2019, to moratorium shall be in effect through January 1st, 2019. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Sean, you get that? Sean, you got it?
Is that the motion?
Do we have to vote on it, Mary? Yes or no? As amended?
No, we'll do that on the floor. That's
Okay,
not
gotcha.
being on the floor, but Bill will be prepared with that motion.
Yep.
I'll give that to him, so.
Gotcha. Okay, so does everybody understand what that change is? We have a question, a couple of questions. Ms. Hickey first.
Laura can go
Laura
first.
first, then?
Mine's not on the change.
Laura?
Yeah, I'm wondering, through you, Mr. Chair, to FinCom, why they voted not to recommend that?
Mr. Chairman, our recommendation on that had come down, normally in regards to an item like this, especially where there's not a specific dollar amount, preference would have been to refer to town meeting. However, we did have a lengthy discussion on this, and we looked at it in regards to, from a free enterprise perspective, in that during a moratorium established by the town, if a store was established in Halifax, if one was established in Rockland, if one was established in Whitman, that would have an impact, a financial impact on the ability to establish a location in Hanson and potentially further have a future impact on tax revenue at a later date.
I see. That was, so I
Okay,
guess
thank
ask
you,
the answer.
that's where I thought you guys were coming from.
Yeah, and it's.
So basically, you don't want to restrict any new business in our town that might be, able-
Right,
right?
and look, we get,
Yeah.
we certainly get the nature of where everything was
Controversy
coming
and-
from.
yeah,
You know,
right.
That's going back to our original discussion on intent.
Right.
We get that, but the argument was made that if it was a lumber yard and we had a moratorium on lumber yards, would we be restricting free trade in town and also restricting the ability to generate additional tax revenues from the commercial base?
It's a good point. It's an interesting point, so I can see both sides of the coin to this. Oh, I wasn't, so basically what I'm hearing, what I would guess, venture to say is the date change in here wouldn't have any impact on what your
On our
decision is.
recommendation, no,
Right,
no.
okay, good.
Thank you.
Right. Mr. Hickey, did you still have a question? Was that it?
That was my question, except when it gets to the floor, is it a majority or a two-thirds vote on this?
I should say in it. I think
The
it's
amendment will be a
majority?
majority, and then the article itself will be 2/3 votes.
Mhm. So the amendment of the date change would be majority vote, right? And the actual article itself would be 2/3 vote. Any other questions on this? Article 29.
I move the town vote to amend Article 29, no, 2-9 of the Town of Hanson current general bylaws by adding a new Section 3 to establish and authorize revolving funds for use by certain town departments, heads, committees, agencies, or offices under general law. There are 44 and 53E and a half in the Town of Hanson, as printed in the warrant. And further to authorize the total expenditures for the following revolving funds for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2017.
Thank you, Donnie. And this has an itemized list also, right, Sean?
Yeah, which, Dawn, you're gonna have to read all of
Read that.
those items. You don't have to do it right now, but, under the new.
I figured I could read it
Organization
all down to the explanation.
Act. Right, sorry about that, but it was just one of those things I missed when we put the warrant together, that we have to show the spending limits for each one of the.
I will do it.
So will he have to read the sections 3A, B, C, and D, and E, or just the chart?
He just needs to read the chart.
Gotcha.
Oh, the fund chart, right?
Yeah, just, oh yeah, you don't have his motion. But he has a motion that the fund chart is assessors 1,500, Parks and Fields is 10,000, library 7,000.
Right.
Senior center programs is 2,500, senior center fees is 95,000, conservation is 7,500, and Nathaniel Thomas Mill is 1,500.
Okay. Thank you, Donnie. Further questions to this one? I have none. Moving on to Article 30. Article 30 is proposed, and I don't see Mr. Edgehill here, or is somebody here to represent this article? Mike, do you want me to read it?
I don't think we've drawn up a motion, right, since it's not
No,
our article.
No, it's not our, they'd have to move it. Somebody have to be on the board and move it.
So I'm gonna read it
I mean,
anyways.
I can read it in the form of a motion if the board so chooses.
That's-
Move the town to vote to appropriate, yeah, I'm not sure whether or not we should have appropriate raise by taxation or borrow.
You'll
That'd be
have
up to them, yeah.
I'm guessing it should probably be borrowed.
Borrow. Well, I'm gonna make that assumption then. Move to ask the town to vote to borrow from Massachusetts Clean Water Trust a sum of $500,000 for the purpose of financing the following water pollution abatement facility projects: repair, replacement, and/or upgrade of septic system pursuant to agreements with the Board of Health and residential property owners, including without limitation all costs thereof as defined in Section 1 of Chapter 29C of the Mass General Laws,
Okay. Thank you.
They do the borrow, and it's gonna be a two-thirds vote.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Beth.
No, we said no borrowing.
So Article 30 would require a 2/3 vote.
Only if they continue it in this form. I mean, if they change it to raise by taxation,
Then it's majority,
then it would be a majority.
right?
which of course would be an issue since we certainly don't have that sort of capacity within the budget, so.
So you can't have both in the same article, right? It has to be one or the other.
The
They've
motion,
got to
to
choose,
select.
yeah,
the motion has to be for one or the other.
Right.
yeah.
Laura has a question.
Oh, Laura.
Yes, so two questions. I also noticed through you, Mr. Chair, to Chair FinCom, that they voted against it. Curious as to why that happened. And also, although I have had a private conversation with some members of the Board of Health, I think that the question will come up at town meeting, why isn't this being proposed by the Board of Health, and what are their thoughts on it, and that type of thing. So, but I'd like to first hear from FinCom if possible.
Would you like to take the phone? Former Board of Health member Laura, we did research, Old Colony managed this. It was a revolving fund for loans, septic systems. The recent history has been that it was managed poorly. There's a lot of liens that are coming out on these loans. People who are going after these loans, we're not paying them back. It was just a problem, and if we're spending money on this, it's an ineffective program. If it was managed better, and there was recommendations that maybe the Board of Health may have an employee that will manage it, it would be different. But at this point in the game, we're concerned, and the amount of money and the tax levy, there's a lot of factors here that are making us very skittish about it. So we voted not to recommend it.
All right, thank you.
You don't care to know why the Board of Selectmen were in favor of it, or do you?
Well, I was here. I
Okay, good.
heard your conversation.
You heard the
But-
arguments
but
for
if
it?
you-
Yep,
you
yep,
know,
nope, that's
you
cool.
wanna- yeah,
I wasn't
yeah.
sure if you wanted to hear the
No,
other.
no, and, you know, I mean,
Maybe she did, I don't know.
I understand where those guys are coming from. There's so many different sides to this that,
Yes.
you know, and that's why I wish that it had really been proposed by the Board of Health, or at least that they had been involved in it. Certainly Mr. Edgehill's prerogative to submit a citizen's, article. But, okay, thanks, that's helpful.
Yeah, if it were managed better, maybe more consideration would be
What is
to
the
do.
damage?
I'm not certain, Joe.
Mr. Chair, years ago, the old colony was managed by an outside entity, and, there was more success with it. And as the years went by, from what I understood, talking to the treasurer, talking to a number of people on this article, there's been some problems recently. It's like a hot potato. It's a great idea. The concept is giving loans to people who can't otherwise get loans for septic systems. But if it's not working, it's not paying itself back. It's an inefficient system. And we had a discussion, I believe, with this when you came to us. And
We did.
if there was a structure in place to manage this, then we would probably feel more comfortable with it. And it is a lot of money if they're going to borrow it, or if they're going to raise take from taxation.
Well, it's a good point, Joe. No matter what program you have, if it's not managed properly, especially on borrowing of money, town's money, it makes sense, But in terms of liens and so forth, I think money would probably be paid back. For argument's sake, my position on it was be better to have them, at least have the availability for these people to have the money to do a repair on this septic. Most people, not all, and I can understand, unless they're running up against hard times or whatever, right? It's better for them to have an avenue to go fix it, because if they go to the bank and they can't borrow the money to do it because whatever reason, at least they have an option to get it fixed, and their septic isn't leaking into our environment, right? So it's a matter of perspective, and I can see both sides of the coin on this. I do.
Yeah,
Mr. Chair, we struggled with this too.
I can understand why.
That's why we did due diligence.
Yeah.
We went out and talked to the
Yep.
treasurer. We talked to everybody, different people.
Yep.
So,
This would be
tough thing.
a good one to tell
I'm
me.
not
Mr.
really
Young?
sure what the management problem would be, because if the person qualifies for the loan.
For the loan.
All right, then they go through, they get the loan, all right? It appears on their yearly tax bill as a betterment, and they pay the betterment off as part of their part of their quarterly tax bill. The only problem happens is when they don't pay their tax bill. Now they've got a lien
Right.
that accumulates, but they're paying interest
Until
on all
they
that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like any other tax bill that you have to collect, only there's an additional sum on there for betterment that gets credited against this account every time the tax bill is collected. So you loan it out, and then the money comes back in the form of the betterment that's included on your tax bill, as you pay your tax bill.
So you're
It's
saying that.
debits and credits, that's all it is.
And then if you have a lien on the property, obviously, when they go to sell the property, they'd have to pay,
That's
the
right,
lien has to be
whoever
paid.
buys the house has to pay off the lien, and the town gets the money in full plus interest.
Right, I
So
understand.
it's not a real management problem. It's part of your tax bill. It has to be collected. And if it's not collected, it becomes part of it. And then if the person doesn't pay their bill and the town takes it in tax title, then the town has to wait for somebody to buy the property, and it gets paid off, just like any other tax bill.
But if nobody buys a property, and there is a risk of some loss to the town for this, there's a risk. How much that risk is encountered is,
Right.
up to, obviously, a number of factors, but,
And
Mike?
I was also going to add, Mr. Chairman, that you're talking in terms of, just from a timing perspective, of the borrowing by the town isn't as an indefinite repayment in regards to somebody that would end up being past due, and that in effect might take, and I'm gonna just make up a number, 7 years, where the borrowing for the town might have been 3 years.
Well, you never know, because
Right,
every
right.
individual is different.
So
Yeah.
in effect, in that perspective, the town, we're asking the town to borrow for something that has a longer repayment term than the town is being asked to.
right. And we're not, obviously, in the business to make money off this type of program. It's just a matter of
There's a
helping
minimal
people to
amount
get
of
by.
interest you can charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's one of those, I guess you can see both sides of the picture, so we'll see how the 2/3 vote, or it depends on how the wording is in the motion. Did I hear a question from somebody else? All right. Okay, moving on to Article 31. These are 31 and 32. These are both citizen petitions, is that right, Mike?
Yes.
I think we've talked about these, and for the benefit of everybody out there, we've been advised that these are nonprofit organizations, is that correct? And the town is not, well, is legally prevented to apply money to these sources, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, and certainly Kate can speak to this as well, but it's our understanding that it's prohibited by law for the town to make such payments, such donations. However, given the fact that these were petition articles and got the requisite amount of registered voters to sign, we were obligated to put it on the warrant. However, if they were moved and actually voted, they would be illegal and we wouldn't be able to enforce them. So I think either Kate or Jay are prepared on town meeting floor to explain that to the voters and either pass over it or vote it down, so.
I could rule it out of order.
I think it's, well.
I can rule anything out of order.
Being taped, right?
He's God.
At town meeting, he's the next one right underneath
But no,
him.
wouldn't that be the most efficient way to do it, right?
So essentially, we found case law which says that if it's an illegal article, you can rule it out of order. It's a single case, it's a Rule 128 decision, which means it's not published, so courts tend not to rely on them to the same degree. That said, it still exists, and you can rule illegal motions out of order.
Town meeting time is silent on it? I don't
So
have my
town
copy.
meeting time indicates that the moderator, of course, has power to rule out of order things that are procedurally improper. But this is not necessarily procedurally improper, it's just straight out illegal, because it's essentially the anti-aid amendment, which prohibits any municipality from contributing, no matter how noble the cause,
Yes.
to nonprofits. So, but you absolutely have the authority to rule an illegal motion. I can get you that, case too,
Yeah, that'd
if
be
you'd
great,
like.
thank you.
Okay.
The moderator does it and it's not illegal.
You're right. That's right, Sean, all right. So I'll tell you what, would there be any objection for me to read both of these and just move on? Just move on from them? Or do you want me not to read them? Just move on from these two items, okay? Okay, cool.
And then Article 33 is mine.
Article 33.
So I move the town vote to bring in their votes for the following offices. A moderator for 1 year, 2 selectmen for 3 years, an assessor for 3 years, a board of health member for 3 years, a cemetery commissioner for 3 years, a member of the planning board for 5 years, a constable for 1 year, 2 trustees of Memorial Field for 3 years, 2 trustees of Memorial Field for 2 years, 2 trustees of the public library for 3 years, a member of the Whitman-Hanson Regional School District Committee Pre-K to 12 for 3 years, a water commissioner for 3 years, 2 water commissioners for 1 year, and 1 question. And that question 1 is, shall the town of Hanson vote to have its elected Memorial Field trustees become an appointed committee of the town, yes or no? And there is no question 2 as to the funding of the school operating budget, because it was funded in Article 5. And we will adjourn to an election on May 20th.
Want me to put that on the motion?
That's all right. Does it need to be?
That's what prompted you.
Would you say?
But I'll say it. I adjourn to
Okay.
May 20th.
Excellent. I thought we did pretty well. Went off without a fairly good hitch, right?
Well, hopefully it goes as smoothly.
Thanks, Sean. We can't do as good as you, though. All right. Next item on our agenda is the old business discussion regarding Waste Zero contract.
Yes, Waste Zero.
Go to,
That's my trouble.
That was easy for you to say.
why don't we take a 2-minute recess? That way people can exit if they so choose. Thank you.
Call a recess.
Yes.
And we are at the point now where we are discussion of the Waste Zero contract.
Waste Zero.
No, the room's empty, I'm
I don't know if,
Waste Zero.
if that's the case, then we should talk more on this contract every other time, right? So we have a couple of reports, items 5 and 6 on tonnage.
And I gave you hard copies
Oh,
too, to
yeah,
make it
there's
easier to follow along.
Tonnage, yes, tonnage is here, they
Okay.
are, right here.
One
And-
set's in color. The
Yep.
2016 are in color, and the 2017 are in white, just because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
several pages to them.
I'm with you.
Look at this.
We're talking about the trash bags, right?
I'm just,
The contract.
Oh,
was
Mike's
for
not
trash
back.
bags.
Should we
Yeah,
have waited?
yeah,
I'm
wait.
sorry, Arlene. I apologize. I thought
No,
Mike.
no, but you're talking tonnage, and I'm wondering why you're talking tonnage.
I don't know, because Mike gave it to me to make copies of the stuff, and I did.
This, yeah, I
Let me
think,
see what he gave you.
Yeah, it's
Let me
tonnage.
see if it's the same thing that I have.
yeah, and we've got 2015 versus 16.
Oh, you know what, I know what that is, all right? I know what that is. That's a little bit.
I apologize, Arlene.
No, no,
I assumed that this was part of that discussion, isn't it, or am I mistaken?
no.
It is
You have
not.
this,
Yes, we do.
you have that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we have.
The
One in
contract
green,
that
the
Mike
white.
signed
That's in white. This one
was
is, yeah.
for trash bags.
I see,
So
okay.
that's what we're supposed to be talking
Green.
All
about.
right, let's focus in
So
on
the tonnage
trash.
doesn't really matter
Yep,
Right.
with, it's the trash bags.
Yeah, trash bags, yeah.
and the short of it is you needed to vote to do this, or else the town's not gonna have any trash bags to put their stuff
Well,
in
the thing
to
is-
take up to the transfer station.
My understanding is, Mike is the one that signs all the contracts.
Okay.
So any contracts that we have that come through the Board of Health, we have to send to him to be signed, and so that's what happened here.
Okay.
We renewed the contract because it had expired,
Yeah.
and he signed it.
Okay, Mike, and these are just purely to buy bags, correct, Mike?
Yes, no, it's to buy the bags and it's to administer the program.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Well, but, Mr.
They collect the
Chairman,
money, they distribute the monies.
The only thing that was confusing, Arlene,
Right.
to everybody was like 3 years ago, the Board of Selectmen, Ron San Angelo and the Board of Selectmen handled everything.
No, it was a committee that handled pay-as-you-throw and recommended it to
Yeah.
the Board of Selectmen. Mr. Egan was on that committee.
I-
And the secretary, but she left because she only got paid too late. So there was like 5 or 6 people that were on a committee that looked at all of this
Yeah.
and then made a
Okay,
recommendation.
so there was a committee,
There was a committee.
and then who did they recommend everything to?
I don't know if they recommended to the Board of Health. I remember coming here and sitting through a presentation by Waste Zero for pay-as-you-throw. I don't remember who set that up, if it was the Board of Health that set it up, once they picked a provider,
Because you
or,
weren't on the Board of Health at the time,
I was not.
yeah.
Yeah, Bruce is right, there was a couple of meetings.
Yeah.
I remember the meeting here.
That were held
I
right
came to
here.
the- I came to the
That-
meeting here, it was all run by the Board of Selectmen, it was all
There was a
coordinated.
presentation to the
Yeah.
Board of Selectmen. I don't know who picked,
Yeah, it wasn't the Board of Health.
you know?
Gil,
This is right.
come
I
on.
had just gotten on the board at the time, and to my knowledge, there was a committee, and it was at that time, because previously, as far as my knowledge, the Board of Health had a control of all waste contract signing and whatnot. And at that time, you had the town administrator, and for some reason, the town administrator was told that he had the right to sign the contract because he's a procurement officer.
Okay.
And that's what took place. The town administrator signed the contract. But there was a committee, there's people that recommended it, I mean, everybody was in favor of it.
I understand
I came
that.
on the board,
And then
I was
they
in
came
favor
here
of
and
it.
made a presentation.
But the whole thing, the way I saw it, there was even a ceremonial signing of the contract, and the Board of Health wasn't even present.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was a video, it was on WHA, I can look it up for you.
Okay.
And they had,
Yeah, I don't,
they basically had a signing, the guy from Waste Zero was here, Mr. Regan was here, the rest of the board, they had a whole
because
show.
as a procurement officer,
Yeah.
Mr. Reed had to
I
sign.
believe it was because it was probably the first contract that the town administrator ever signed. Because it never took place before.
But the Board of
All
Health
right.
wasn't even
Yeah.
here.
Regardless of history,
Both the meetings.
Regardless-
Board of Health had nothing to do with it.
Bruce,
It was the selectmen and the town administrator.
Bruce, regardless of the history, let's stick
3
to
years
what's
ago.
on the
Well, I
agenda.
understand that, I'm just giving them the history,
I know,
that's
but I
all.
don't want to go into a violation of open meeting law.
Well, no,
Let's-
I'm just telling you, that's what happened.
I agree, I know, I understand, but right now I'd like to move on. What is the Waste Zero contract exactly, please?
This contract was for the trash bags.
Okay.
So,
And the institute the program, as Mike said,
to
right?
continue the contract to purchase the trash bags, that's what this was for.
Okay.
So the top one, I think you have Exhibit A, it gives you year one, year two, year three.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we were paying. And so year three, which ended 7/1/2016, we were paying $66.15 a case for large bags.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then 70. So the new contract, we're actually paying less. It's 65 for the large
Mm-hmm.
and 69 for the small,
Yeah.
with increases that are built into that. And you'll see that on the first year, there were increases built in, but they did back down this year on the cost.
Now,
And it's a 3-year term.
Colleen, is that savings passed on to the consumer or no? Or is
No,
the town?
because the bags still cost the same amount,
Okay,
irregardless of what the town pays for them. And then it'll go up again, probably next year, 3%.
okay.
And then the year after that, it'll go up again. But this is just for bags.
This is the current contract.
This is the current trash bag specifications that we're talking about, right?
Yes.
They talk about the size of the bags, the bag print on it, the logo on the side of it, the retail bag prices for a large versus small by case or in roll, right?
Yep.
Specifications.
And we also talk about the Waste Zero supplies and service fees, subject to the adjustments set forth in paragraph 12 of that contract. Yes. Where for the first year, July 1st, 2014, it's $60 for large per case, small was 64 per case. And you wrote in the amounts here for year 2 and 3, correct?
Yes.
So for year 2, July 1st, 2015, it's at $63.
So,
Yes, and then it went up to
And then,
66.
and then went up to, right, and then $67.20 for the small per case. Why is the smaller ones more money?
Get more money, I don't know why.
Maybe there's more bags in it too.
There's more
There are
bags.
more bags.
Yeah, okay.
There are more bags.
There's more
I
bags.
think
More
there's
bags in?
8 to the small and then maybe only 5 with the
5
large.
to the
Okay,
big ones.
that would explain maybe the cost difference there. Then year 3, July 1st, 2016, it's at $66.15 for large per case, and for small per case, it's at $70.56. And on the second page, you should see the extension of agreement between Waste Zero and Hanson, Mass.
just tell me.
And this number is accurate, right? The one that says February 8th, 2017 to February 7th, 2018, at $65 for the large per case and $69,
Yes.
right? And the following subsequent years are to be determined.
To determine, right.
Okay. That's it. Any questions about how we, about the bags? I mean, so this is something that would have, that's definitely done by the Board of Health.
Yeah.
And and to what Mr. Young was talking about earlier, so Mike, this tonnage usage that we have, this is relevant to it, but it's not, this is part of your TA report, is that correct?
No, it's part of,
Is it part of
this
this?
discussion, and it
Okay,
was
good.
really just for the edification of the board as to what amounts were coming in, what the revenues were that were coming in, and the revenues are all used to offset the cost of the transfer station.
Okay. And the white copy being the most recent copy of 2016 to 17 comparison. And of course, we only have the tonnage numbers up through the end of February, which makes sense.
Where are the revenue numbers?
Revenue numbers, I think, would be on this one, Bruce. The white one? The white one, yes. And it has a breakdown on tonnage, cardboard, and single stream.
And again, just to reiterate my role in this as the chief procurement officer and as the town administrator, it's to neither promote nor to stand in the way of whatever the Board of Health, the Board of Selectmen, the town of Hanson decides in regards to its waste disposal.
Well, yes.
This was merely a necessary action to make sure that the current program
continues until such time as the town decides to go in another direction.
Gotcha.
If this contract had not been signed, we would not have anything in place in terms of taking over for the pay-as-you-throw. Now, if the town, like I said, if the powers that be choose to go in another direction, to get rid of pay-as-you-throw, to go to curbside, to go to a third option, that's certainly a discussion that needs to start taking place. But in the interim, we need to keep in place what we have right now,
Right.
or we will have nothing in place. So again, the signature, the execution of this contract was merely to continue the procurement of the bags and the administration of the program in terms of receipts of revenues.
Sure. So if we
And I
didn't,
think there was some misunderstanding, and I apologize for the misunderstanding, but there seemed to have been some misunderstanding that the execution of this contract was a de facto nod to the extension for the next 3 years or however of the pay-as-you-throw program.
You were just performing your ministerial
Exactly,
duties.
yes,
Procurement
exactly.
officer of the town of Hanson,
Exactly.
signing-
yeah,
The
Yes,
Board of Health
thank
handled
you
the
for
whole
that.
thing, and you were just performing your ministerial duties as the
Yes,
procurement officer.
thank you, yes.
Yeah.
and I think some of the history was
Some
kind
of
of
this,
confusing to a number of to the public, so that may have contributed to it, Mike, as well. So, with these numbers in front of us, you can see an average rate per ton on the tonnage, right? For 2016, that would be your full year that you're getting a good picture of for the entire year, guys, okay? And this is from January to December. And if you look at the bottom, if you look at the
You
tonnage,
see it, yeah.
you'll see each month, and it looks to me to be an average of roughly 4,000, maybe 4,500. There's a couple of months in here that have 5,258. That's your total for the month. That's your total tonnage for the month and it costs,
So There
yes.
shouldn't be dollars.
Right, yep.
$55 a
That's what it
ton.
costs to throw away. Is that right, Mike? Am I reading that
I
correctly?
believe you're correct.
Well, that's,
So the
okay.
big month is March. Also June.
June, yeah.
And of course, cardboard and the single stream don't have the same numbers, Mike, because do we make money off those? No?
Cardboard, because single stream, we have to pay to have it hauled away.
Okay.
How about the metal? Is that all?
Is that considered the,
I think we have somebody that comes through and picks it up, but it's been a while.
It does, it generates very little funds.
okay.
Angela took it over.
You understand what it is?
Yeah.
What is this one now?
That is a 2015-16 comparison, so if you wanted to compare 15 to 16 of the years, you can see from a month-to-month comparison between 15 and 16.
Is there anything here that shows how much revenue we're taking in?
So I'm not seeing a huge significant, I'm not seeing a pattern of any kind. Mike, did you happen to see any pattern
Well,
on
I
this?
think the only patterns you might see are seasonal patterns.
Right.
As you've noted,
How about-
March, which generally, for the lack of a better definition, is your spring cleanout sort of a month. And as far as June, I really can't attribute to why June would be spiking, but it's an imperfect science, I guess.
How
Yeah.
much did the bags?
And I've run into that, I'm sorry, Ken, I've run into that in trash collection, not necessarily pay-as-you-throw, but trash collection in other communities that I've served in.
What did the bags generate for revenue in 2016? Do we know that?
I don't believe I have that figure.
Todd might have that number.
You
I
know
think
that?
Todd would have it now. Yeah, I'm not seeing a clear pattern, because some years, some months in 2016, we went up.
And it also depends on how many haulers
Mm-hmm.
are coming into town.
Okay.
And I don't know, there was one hauler that came in and the price was really reduced. A lot of people at that point might have switched.
So I'm hearing a lot that they're saying that there's not much usage going up there. I don't know if that's true or not.
I figured the place is being utilized.
It's being
We
utilized.
operate a full-service, transfer station.
Right.
You know, we have, you know, we take in mattresses, we take in batteries, we take in oil, we take in light bulbs, we take in propane tanks, tires, metal.
Electronics.
Electronics, you know, we're a full-service transfer station.
Do we know the percentage of people that are getting curbside versus going to the transfer station?
That figure hasn't been put together, we have, you know, people haven't done the reports yet and whatnot, but if you ride around town, you'll notice, like I've been checking out, you know, people are jumping from company to company and whatnot.
All you need to know,
We also have,
And we do have, we have one company that has not given us their customer list. It's one of the requirements.
Yes.
They have to give us the customer list, they
Yep.
have to give us a tonnage.
I
There's one
remember that.
company that hasn't done that yet, so.
you have other companies that tend to make, you have larger companies tend to make the smaller companies look bad because they come in for the service and whatnot. And if you notice, from the first beginning, when we first went to Page and Throw, we had one company that had almost the whole town.
Right.
And then within 3 months, another company took over. And now here we are, there's another company out there that's.
Oh, I have 5
killing
houses in my street, and there's 3 different companies that come down. the
Killing,
street.
they're killing.
Yeah,
you
there's
know?
at least
But-
5 different companies.
Right.
But one thing for the citizens of Hanson, they all know they can come back to the transfer station.
No,
You know, and it does happen. People do give it up. You know, the guy that's going to work in the morning with a suit and tie, and he spills something on his, you know, white shirt. He's not gonna carry that rubbish out to his curb anytime soon. He's gonna go back to the transfer station on the weekends.
how many,
It's a
do
proven,
we
it's
happen
a
to
proven
know,
fact.
Gil, do we happen to know how many people actually have dump stickers compared to the number of households in
I
the
don't
town?
have the figures, I didn't ask,
See, I don't think you can go by
No.
that.
That would be an
And I
interesting
can
thing to
tell
know.
you, a lot of people don't have up-to-date stickers, because I've spent a lot of time up there.
Yeah.
And they're even though there's 4 signs on the way in that says your sticker expired in June of 2016, they have not gotten new stickers. So we've been stopping people and telling them
Oh,
they have
yeah.
to come to
How
town
often do you
hall.
have to renew them?
It was 3 years.
Oh,
And so
3
this
years.
sticker, this new sticker is good for 3 years, but there's a ton of people that,
Because now
I go
that's-
there all the
Now
time.
they're shaped like a triangle.
triangle
right?
one?
So you can
That's
spot
how
it
I
right
know
away.
that stickers are out of date. If they have a square one,
So that would, I think I agree with Bruce, that would give you a little bit of an idea if you counted how many stickers
Yeah,
you.
because the people that have curbside aren't gonna come back and pick up a sticker,
but
because,
people can get a sticker and still have curbside.
no, but I
Because I
understand
did it
that.
when I had curbside.
No, but I understand that, but the big controversy when it first happened,
Right,
if you remember it, was the fact that people had curbside, but they still wanted to go to the dump with their recyclables.
Transfer station.
and they can.
Well, not
Transfer-
really.
No, initially they could, before the haulers started doing the separate, when this
But they still
program
can.
first started.
But no, but the haulers
I
are
know.
basically required to supply 2 bins. They
Right.
have to, yeah, that was part of the regulation.
I understand
They had
that.
to supply a bin for trash, and they had to supply, and so the people had to pay for them.
People still can come to
People
the
were
transfer
outraged by that.
But if you're paying for the
Okay.
services, they're
If you're
giving you
paying for the
recycling as
service,
part of it, you
yeah.
don't need to go there, is what he's
Right,
saying.
because they have to supply 2 bins.
I still did. I was paying, and I
They
had
do.
a 94,
They
96
have to,
gallon.
that's part of the regulation.
Every 2 weeks they emptied, I still had to go to the transfer
The
station.
haulers have to
Because
supply
I
2
recycle a
bins.
lot.
Let me say something here, please. Okay, we have citizens that come and get a sticker.
Yeah,
They have a private haul,
sure.
but they're still utilizing the transfer station for their
Mattress
propane tank,
Yep.
for their steel,
It's
for
matters.
their
Oh,
yard
yeah,
waste.
for the big stuff, for the
Right.
big stuff, they gotta get a
That-
triptych for
The
that.
private hauler is
Not
not
gonna take it.
servicing.
Unless
So
it's
we have
metal,
those
you don't need a
people.
triptych for metal, but you need it
It's
for the other
still-
stuff.
You know, the incandescent bulbs, the
Yeah.
electronics and whatnot. Those
Batteries.
people are still using the transfer station.
Right.
Like I say, we have a full-service transfer
Yeah,
station.
but what I'm trying to,
The best around.
what I'm trying to say is, they're not using that for trash and recyclables, because they're having the 2 bins. The only reason they're coming there is for the things you just mentioned, okay?
If
So
they
we-
pay for washers and refrigerators.
They pay for all of that, yep.
So once
Yes.
you get all these people to get the new
Yes.
the actual new sticker, that's
Yep.
the triangle, you'll be able to tell
Then
how
we'll
many
be able to
people are actually using the
Yeah,
transfer
you have a better
station
idea.
compared with
Yeah,
the
we do
number
have a,
of,
we have a total for last year, we
Com-
don't have it with us
yeah,
right now.
compared to the number of households there are in Hanson. And that would be a very valuable, percentage to
Right,
have.
and every household can have 2 stickers.
Yeah, that's
But,
right.
but Arlene, to your point, so I have pickup, trash
Yes.
pickup. I've got the 2 bins and I've got the sticker.
Yes.
right? You know, stupid things. I'll be honest with you, if the hauler, my hauler doesn't come on that week, I call them up and I have them adjust my bill. So they're taking the money off for that week for my bill, and I may take my stuff up to the transfer station. I have orange bags and I have my recyclables, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there might be reasons as to why.
Right.
That I might use the transfer station, but.
You're gonna be one of those guys that's gonna stain your white shirt.
Yeah, he'll do it on Saturday or Sunday.
But
But you still use it, it's still available to you.
Right, and I've done a cost comparison where, you know, I'm able to look at it, and, you know, what's my time worth? How much money am I spending for gas, commuting, bringing the stuff
Right.
up there? All that takes into consideration, you know? You know, if I was retired and had more time, and I do enjoy a conversation up there with my buddy Chris, I'd go up there as often, probably more frequently than I did. I used to love going up there, just talking to people and saying hi too, you know? That's gone now.
It's
not
the
there.
only transfer station in the South Shore
Yeah.
that's got a drive-through.
Yep.
Everybody else has to pull in and then back out and take off.
The only thing you can't do with the drive-through is order hamburgers and fries.
Right.
No,
Well, you wouldn't want them anyway.
But I'm thinking, Bill, I could be wrong, but it might be in the Board of Health's best interest to come up with those numbers and those statistics, just to try to get a close comparison on it, so that you can, so that you have facts to argue those cases as to why it either should be open or why it shouldn't be. Maybe closed another day, whatever the situation is that comes about. You know what I'm
So
saying?
it is being utilized. I know they do have the figures as far as the amount of stickers that have been issued for the last couple of years. She does have those,
Ms. Skimmett?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned that we've got a private hauler who's not complying with the regulation to give us the numbers. Like, don't we have any leverage to say you're not able
Yes.
to
What
do
numbers you
business
talking
here
about?
Yes.
anymore?
Yes.
How many residents?
The haulers and stuff, they have to, they're supposed to, remember the contract? They're
Oh, I
supposed to
remember
tell, they're supposed to tell how much waste they take out.
Yeah.
They're supposed to tell you how many blue tubs
The
they drop off.
regulations are
You're
almost-
supposed to give us a customer list?
Yes.
Yeah, but you know what's impossible, and we brought this up before, those regulations are almost impossible to comply with, for the simple reason is this. The tonnages that come out of Hanson, okay, that guy isn't, in order to
You could be in 3 towns in one
Yeah,
day.
Yeah, it could be in 3
I
towns.
know that.
So it's impossible,
Yes, I agree.
you know, unless the guy wants to pick up Hanson and then just go to where he dumps the stuff
Okay,
and
but
get
fine,
another
so-
tonnage.
Maybe not the tonnage, but they can
Customer
still get
list.
the customer list.
Oh, yeah, the customer list,
Yeah.
but
No, yeah.
that part of that particular, that
That is difficult.
compliance is impossible to comply with.
There were certain parts of it
Yeah.
that didn't make sense at the time. All right, so,
Impossible.
I don't think are there any questions with regard to the trash bags on the Waste Zero contract? I don't think there's anything that goes in there.
You know, I noticed the
Personally,
trash bags have
this-
improved though, because they hold more without busting now.
And I can tell you that other towns have bags that are not as good as
Yeah.
what we have.
Okay. And of course, they can be sold at all Ace Hardware, Shaw's.
Ace, Shaw's,
local stores,
yeah.
right.
You can get them anywhere, any store in Hanson, pretty much.
That's part of the.
I have a question. Do we have a contract with the hauler who picks up there?
The hauler contract is up in November.
Up in November?
We do.
And how long is that contract?
That was 3 years.
That's 3 years.
3 years, yep.
I'm not, I don't know, my personal opinion on this is that this is a Board of Health matter, those items.
It is, it's supposed to be.
It is, but it
They're
still
in charge
needs
of
to
solid
go
waste.
Yeah, it has to go
the
to Mike
town
and sign for
administrator
contract.
for sign,
He
that's
signs
it.
They're in charge, because they're
And
in
so
charge of
that's
solid
what
waste
happened.
disposal.
Yeah.
I brought it to him, he signed it.
Okay.
All, if you go through Mass General Law, all waste contracts.
Yeah.
Have to go to the town administrator.
We know that, but what Bruce was trying to say 3 years ago, that's not how it went down. I agree with him 100%.
I don't
Because I
know.
sat in this room during all the meetings.
I don't know.
Let me say one other thing here. You know, page and throw has worked throughout this country, all right? We have tried years and years to fund the transfer station, many different ways. We've ended up with fights and arguments and meetings and whatnot. Pay as you throw works throughout the country. Like I was telling Mike tonight, it's only failed in one town in Massachusetts, and that's in southeastern Mass, but it succeeds everywhere it goes. Yes, we run at a deficit, but eventually we will get better at it.
As long as we're going in the right direction.
And if you looked at tonight's article, the amount of money that we asked for last year, there's a decrease this year.
I know.
And the plan, it's less, we asked for less this year.
Mhm.
The plan is to make it self-sufficient.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's gotta be the goal for it, right?
Good.
Because I do understand the people who feel that they might be paying for both,
Right.
right? You're paying for the transfer station, and they might be paying for a private haulage,
Right.
right?
Well, yeah, percentage
Yeah,
of
but
the.
they can do it.
But they have the option of going
Because
one
part
way.
of it is paid for by
Right.
taxation, not all paid for.
Right.
So that's
I don't think
percentage.
it'll ever be self-sufficient, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right.
Then it goes back on taxation like it was before.
Right,
It still is on taxation.
but a small amount of it, it's a small amount. It's not, yeah, if you look at the budget, it's a
The
small
only
amount.
thing was that the override that we passed for that, like 25 years ago, is still in the tax levy, only it's not paying for the, it's not, only part, a small part of it is paying for the,
Yeah, it's like 200,000 or something.
yeah, but most of it's being paid for by
Plus,
the
remember,
feds.
18 years ago, the disposal costs were like $360,000.
That's right.
And look what it
No,
is
that
now.
wasn't the point I was trying to
So
make,
that's the
just,
money you talk about that override.
Right.
You get that $100,000 override, plus you get the other $100,000 reduction from what it is right now.
That's
So you
correct.
get $200,000
yeah.
in the reserve fund.
Yeah, you're
From
using
the
part of that
transfer
for something
station.
else now, the 200, that's going for something else in that.
See? Yeah.
Yeah,
Part of the general fund, like all 2.5 overrides.
Yep.
Yep, and unless that department, Jim, unless you cut out that department or you decrease your budget, everybody's paying for it anyway.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's part of the general fund.
That's right.
All right.
It never goes away. In fact, it increases, it compounds at 2.5% a year, every year, that it's in the tax levy, which is forever.
Colleen, this is for you.
2.5%.
Yeah.
I would like to move on because I've been waiting to hear
Yeah.
the town administrator's report. I think we've beaten this one to death. Are we okay?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to straighten
I'm
that
with
out
you,
with
brother.
him, so he understood it.
you're done.
On our agenda tonight is the town administrator's report. Mr. Mike McHugh.
With that sort of a lead-in, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to report that the annual Hanson Cleanup Day, which occurred on Saturday, which I believe you participated in.
I did.
I am
I
told
didn't see you.
was
I was
the,
there.
and I apologize if there were other
You.
members. However, that being said, I have been informed that there were over 80 participants, and it was the best turnout thus far for that event. So we certainly congratulate Green Hanson and all of those who participated and worked to make this a success.
The highway department too, Mike.
Oh, yes, very much so.
They came by and collected the
I saw
trash.
Geese on 27 near the transfer station,
Yeah.
in the woods.
I was by along
I
King
picked up a
Street.
deer tick, too. I had to pick him off my shoulder that night.
Yep. They're out there. You gotta be careful. I do wanna say thank you, Mike. That's a great point. It was a great thing to see, but I feel sometimes I drove by in other sections and I feel it wasn't enough. I think Laura, you were there too, if I remember. Saw you there. I don't know. I
You
don't
know, you
if-
could have
I
put
don't-
all 80 people out on Route 27, and you
Yeah.
still wouldn't have got everything within the 2.5
But-
hours.
But one of the things, Mike, and I don't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but one of the things I saw that I thought they did really, thought of really efficiency was along, was it Elm Street? I think it was along, or Winter
Sides.
Street, no, it was along Winter Street. What they did was somebody went in and was throwing the stuff out from the woods, because the briar is thick and the thorns, and it's very, you know, and they put it into various piles
was
as you
Dexter. He
went.
went out the
So
day
you
before
took it
and
to,
did that.
took a
Yeah.
bigger problem, broke it up into smaller, put it into different piles, and then somebody came back and picked up the piles, putting the stuff in the bags. Because we had to separate that stuff, Mike. We had to separate the trash from the recyclables, you know? And,
That's Robinson, he started the day before.
yeah,
He did that whole street.
Did a nice
himself,
job.
And he started working up Brook Street, Joe.
you did a terrific job. It looks really good. And Laura, I saw you by Brook Street on that. And on King Street, I saw Michelle Dunn and Susan, I forget her last name, God, it escapes me, Matt Hire, Dyer, excuse me. Good people who did a great job. We still need more people to get out there and pick up in front of their homes as best they can. Sorry, Mike.
Thank you. I wanted to report that we received word that there'll be some overnight work on the commuter rail tracks starting in May, going to be taking place between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m. So those along neighbors or abutters of the track are likely to hear some noise and see some lights, so that they know what's going on.
Did they say what street in the street, or
No, they
anywhere in
just the track, just the commuter rail line.
Understand the way it works.
So I'll make
Starting
sure,
in May.
starting in May. So I will make sure that the police department has this information in case they don't. So if they get any calls about the concerns about noise and lights and what might be going on there. I am tentatively scheduling for this Friday an Arbor Day event, as I've alluded to in the past, tentatively for 2 o'clock in the afternoon. the National Grid did donate a Japanese, white Japanese dogwood that will be planted in place of a similar tree that died and had to be cut down in front of the Council on Aging library. The highway is going to dig that hole for us. Again, the National Grid is donating the tree and going to plant the tree for us. I have extended invitations to Representative Cutler and Senator Brady, as well as to the students at McQuon and Indian Head, if they want to come by for the short ceremony that I'm going to put together. Green Hanson will also, they'll be in attendance, as well as members of the Council on Aging and the library. So if any of the selectmen are interested, I certainly would be very happy to have you in attendance, perhaps say a few words. I generally make these very short. And what this allows us to do, again, as I've alluded to in the past, is it allows the town of Hanson to apply for a Tree City USA designation, which will be not only, in my opinion, a source of pride for the town, but it will also be helpful in competing for grants in the future.
What date and time, Mike?
It's this Friday at 2 o'clock.
Friday is 2.
Where is this out here?
Where's that?
At the library.
Gotcha.
Yeah, right where the library and the senior center meet. Apparently you
2
had,
o'clock
and
at the
actually,
library. Okay.
I appreciate Les Wyman actually was aware of what tree had been there in the past, and we had reached out to him and asked National Grid if they could provide us with the exact same tree, and they are, so everyone seems to be pretty happy with the choice. In mentioning Representative Cutler, his office and I have been working on setting up a meeting with representatives of MassWorks, which is an economic development branch of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I believe that they came out a few years back prior to my being here to discuss what this department can do for the town of Hanson. As I believe the board is aware, one of my goals, and it will be a never-ending goal, is to try to increase commercial revenue to the town of Hanson, which will take a little bit of the burden off of the average residential taxpayer. So I'm hopeful that I'll be able to set something up in the next month or so. Unfortunately, those representatives from MassWorks, they're only available during the day. My hope had been to bring them to a selectmen's meeting, so we could also have it televised. But I would imagine that we'd probably make arrangements for TV coverage anyway. But anyways, I'll keep you apprised when I put that particular day and time together. I had the Board of Selectmen at a previous meeting vote the fence that surrounds the former Plymouth County Hospital. It's now a pile of rubble, as a surplus. It is my opinion, and I think I mentioned it to the board at the time, it's my opinion at this point that I would like to have the fence company come in and basically remove the fence for free, save us $5,000, and allow them to keep the fence. So,
Mike, did we had somebody, we had a request from a citizen on the boundaries of the recreation pond, to extend the fence. Should we maybe consider using it, could we use it there instead, do you get me?
oh no, it's a completely different type of fencing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, completely different.
I was hoping to
And as
reuse
far
it.
as that goes, that is going to move forward. It had been planned to move forward, but unfortunately, the water level rose.
Came back up.
Yeah, it came back
Okay.
up, so I would assume that it's gonna come back down in the fall, and we'll proceed with that. But it's a totally different sort of
Gotcha,
fencing.
I was hoping to reuse it, sorry.
Would they vote to do that?
Hmm?
Get rid of the fence? Do you want to vote?
Oh, they already
Just-
did. They
They
voted
voted to
to.
surplus. Do you want approval to get rid of it, or what?
Did you want to vote, do you want us to
Well,
put the?
I was just going to do that as chief procurement officer, but actually, it doesn't hurt to have the support of the Board of Selectmen. So what I would ask for is a motion to authorize me as your chief procurement officer to make arrangements with, is it Sweezy Fence? I always mispronounce it.
Sweezy, yep.
Sweezy Fence, to come in and remove the fence at no cost, but also to allow Sweezy Fence to keep the fencing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, discussion. Thank you, Mike, for that. And
Thanks, because we do need to get that out of the way
all those in
fairly.
favor?
Oh.
Sorry, Mike.
Aye.
5-0. We're with you, Mike.
We do need to get that out of the way fairly soon, because we're gonna hopefully move on to the next stage in fixing up that property, so.
Okay.
Two other quick items. I think this has been bandied about for a while. I am going to, hopefully within the next couple of meetings, present to the Board of Selectmen a draft social media policy, which would, it would relate at this point only to non-union personnel. Again, it's something that apparently past boards have talked about, and.
The social media policy?
Yeah.
I think we have one already.
No, I don't believe there's one in place.
We've drafted one,
We
did?
but it was never really voted
Never
in
acted
because we
upon.
had questions
What's that
regarding
cover? People on-
negotiations with
People during the
the
day?
union.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be great, Mike.
So we'll move forward on that, and additionally, I have on my list of things to do, which would also be a policy. I will draw up for the next meeting or so a policy for the board to consider adopting in regards to asking the different boards and committees to set up procedures to film all their meetings.
Yes. So
So,
that we can we're gonna get the equipment from Whitman Cable Access.
yeah,
Right?
and a modicum of training apparently. It's pretty simple.
And we can have-
Point and shoot, and a static shot, and then they could just bring the the medium, which I would assume would be a DVD, back to the cable station, and they can program it in.
And we can have that run by the chairman of each
Yeah,
board, right?
yeah.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, we'll draw up a very simple policy for adoption by the board.
Did you get a chance to reach out to Comcast, that woman?
Yeah, I haven't heard back. I did, Kenny, and I have not heard back. Her name is Kathy Maloney, and I did ask her about what the status was in putting in the new equipment that apparently is well over a year.
Fiber, it's their responsibility to do the fiber.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to stay on them.
but they kicked it out for what, a year and a half or so.
They
So
took it out from 2017 to 2018.
yeah, so I followed up, and I've yet to receive any feedback from her.
Terrific.
Oh, Mike?
Yeah.
Where do we stand on the land auctions at this point? Do we have a date set?
I will touch base with the attorney, and I'll update the board at the next meeting.
Yeah, okay. So we got like 6 or 7 we're gonna auction
Yeah, 6 or 7.
at that point.
Yeah.
The other thing is, where do we stand? You remember, a point was made that we need an automated system over at Camp Kawani
Recreation.
for recreation.
Yeah, there was a webinar, or there was an online presentation, I believe it was either at the end of last week or the beginning of this week, with the new recreation director and the administrative assistant.
Okay.
So they're looking
So,
into
yeah,
it.
that did take place.
That would track the
Yep.
the rentals.
Yep.
So you'd be able to
Yep.
go online, you'd be able to look rentals up and see how much the rentals were, how much revenue's been generated, and how much is left to pay on the rental.
Exactly.
And
It's-
the workflow would be automated.
Yes,
too.
it's actually, the name of the company is kind of odd. I think it's called Dude
Dude
Solutions.
Solutions.
Yeah.
Oh, good, that's great, yeah,
So,
that's
yes.
super, yeah.
Yes,
It'd be
that
nice
has taken
to
place.
meet the new director too, if you can.
We're
set that
going,
up.
she is going to come in at the next meeting.
Okay,
Cool.
excellent.
Is that it, Mike, or are you still going?
That's it, no, that's all I have,
Oh,
Mr.
that's
Chairman.
good.
That's terrific. All right, thank you, Mike. One-day liquor license, Camp
See what
Kawani
stuff you gonna miss, Bruce?
at Raymond Undrak from Hanson, Wednesday, May 31st, from 6 to 10 p.m. I'm not gonna say the word cub, I'm gonna say Boy Scout honor, because last time I got yelled at, right?
Yes.
Oh, the Boy
This
Scouts, yeah.
apparently is a little bit different. It's not an Eagle Scout Court of Honor.
So it is a Cub?
This is Cub Scouts.
This is a real Cub Scout?
Cub Scouts, yes,
I
Cub
did the same
Scouts.
thing. I
Because
looked
I want you to know that during the Hanson cleanup day, I said, oh, you guys are in Cub Scouts? I said, no, Boy Scouts. And I got the logo for me.
Let's see it.
All right,
Where were
okay.
you?
Motion.
Motion's been made. I need it seconded. This would be to grant the one-day liquor license to Raymond Andrak at Hanson, Wednesday, May 31st, from 6 to 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell's there, he's sitting there.
Yes.
We're waiting for you to second the motion. Do you second the motion, Mr.
Yes, I
Mitchell?
do.
Mr. Mitchell seconds the motion.
Second.
Discussion, further discussion.
The Cub Scouts can only drink Shirley Temple, so.
There you go. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Thank you, Mary, on this one. Okay, next one is the Nathaniel Thomas Mill, Tricia Dransfield appears to be renting it from Hanson, Saturday, May 20th, from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Terrific. Moving on to committee reports. The Mont Ponce Pond Committee, Mr. Howard.
Mount Ponset Pond, Brockton is taking water at the moment. I don't know for how long. And there was quite a discussion on Brockton the other day because it seems that the South Weymouth Air Base is looking for more water. And there was discussion held on Brockton selling water to them. Now, I don't know how they're gonna get it there, but
From us?
no, from Brockton Water.
Brockton Water, okay.
They're taking, what, 10 million gallons a day out of Silver Lake to supply Whitman and themselves. And I don't know how they're gonna run the plant, and make more water to sell it to, what do they call that now, South?
Union Point.
Union Point. And I guess it's gonna be quite a discussion on it, because they've got a line coming from Braintree and Weymouth so that they can get MWA water. And I think they're requesting 10 million gallons of water a day. I think that, but that's as most as they'll probably get. They probably are only gonna use 3. But they've got a line going from Brockton to Weymouth
Okay.
that they can sell water to them. I don't know how it's gonna be done. This is all through the Department of Public Health and EPA, and I
So
don't know,
you
I don't
say-
know what the tie is in yet
Yeah, I
between
getcha.
the state and Brockton, but they can't produce enough water for themselves. How are they gonna produce enough water to sell it?
To sell it to Weymouth. Unless they're gonna, don't they have a desalination plant or no?
Well, they can still only make, Silver Lake, I believe, will only produce 4 million gallons a day coming through the aquifer. And if they run the desaltation plant, they can produce another 4 million max there. But that still doesn't come to 10 million that they're using every day.
Right, where they come
And
up with it.
how they can sell water
If
and
they
still
can.
produce enough for themselves, that's the big question, and nobody can give an answer. And Brockton hasn't shown up at the meetings now for the last 3 months, so
More to
you can't
come.
ask them questions if they don't show up.
More to come, that's a pretty good.
That'll be,
That'll
yeah.
be an interesting point, where are they getting the water from, if they're
Yeah,
gonna sell
right,
it.
True. And that's my report.
Thank you, Donnie. Next, we have the Indian Head and McQuon Priority Repair Committee.
I really don't have anything to report.
I forwarded you an email from Christine Suko. Did you get that or
No,
no?
what was
I
that about?
apologize. It was on the roof.
Oh, on the roof. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, no, I did get that.
Okay, good. You
Yeah.
wanna just read that or
Yeah,
no?
no, but we have, I think I've held my last committee meeting as chairman.
Okay.
And I want to thank all those, because I won't be, obviously, I won't be here for next year, because I'm leaving town government. But I want to thank all those dedicated people who were on that committee.
Well, you can be a
It
member
was-
at
It was
large.
one of the most active
Mhm.
and professional committees I've ever been on. And those guys really looked forward to coming to every meeting and participating, and we rolled up our sleeves over the past 3 years and really got a lot done and a lot accomplished for those 2 buildings. And it really was one of my proudest accomplishments in the 3 years that I've been here, is recommending the formation of the committee to really stand back and look at those buildings with a new set of eyes. And the new non-aligned people that we brought in, people who were really professionals in the trades and everything, really got a lot done, and I want to thank them personally for all the hard work that they accomplished in the last 3 years.
They've done a lot of work, that's true. If you would oblige me, I have the status for the McQuon School roof. The report that we received from the vendor said a majority of the work, this was on April 20th that they sent it. A majority of the work will hopefully be wrapped up tomorrow, which would be the 21st of April, and that's because it was school week vacation. We pushed to have most items complete while the school was empty. There will be 3 outstanding items. One was to remove and install a new door leaf. The other one was remove and install new caulking around the louver vent,
Yeah.
install standing seam metal cap on the chimney. We'll wait for the door to come in. It needed a 4 to 6 week lead time. We hope to complete all 3 outstanding items on the same day to minimize interference with the school activities. There should be nothing on site after the 21st.
Right.
And they're going to have a meeting, the next meeting that they have, they postponed the next meeting next week. But they will proceed to meet the next time when they're ready to do, when they have a better idea on when the final installation will occur. So,
Yeah, that was one of the last recommendations that we made, that we
That you guys
proceed
proceeded to
with that
fix,
roof,
yep.
and so
so
that's
that's,
great to say that, yeah.
yep. That's terrific. Thank you for that report. Next, we have the Highway Building Committee. Mr. Scott?
We haven't had any meetings because of the situation going on at Light Control. Just to report a little bit, I was down meeting with the engineers down there the other day. They're doing the final grading, and they're also they've started the plantings. They estimate they'll be done within 4 to 5 weeks and then they'll reach back to DEP for the finalization of their project, and then we may get some ideas as to when they might consider, timeline for turning it over to the town, the property that they're gonna give to us.
That's right. I haven't been there, Bill. How does it look?
It's looking very good.
Yeah.
Looking very good. They put boulders along the potential lot line that would, for the lot that will, the land that will be given to the town. So if anybody drives down there, they can see the boulders which are going in towards the buildings, and they're gonna be taking down a lot of the fencing that they had put up. Some of the fencing, I think Fish and Wildlife may take some of it, but they're gonna be taking most of all the fencing down to where our property, the town's property would start, and then they'll leave that for us to determine how we wanna proceed from there.
Very good.
But that's
Thank you.
about it right now.
Thank you, Bill. Next, we have the final Plymouth County Hospital Committee update. Mr. Howard? How we tear down the chimney?
The chimney is down,
All right.
and like Mr. McHugh said, the fence has gotta come down so that they can, well, all the foundations are out that I can see, all this concrete's gone. They must have crushed that up, and it's
Terracotta.
looking good up there.
It looks really nice, yeah?
And I can't wait till it's flat.
Yeah, flat
Oh, yeah.
completely, Yeah, no, if you guys, if you want, maybe on the 16th, if you guys take pictures, if you wanna just take pictures, maybe we'll put them up in the presentation. For
A
anybody
lot
who
of
might not be
people have been
interested.
going up there and taking pictures.
Take a look, yeah, that's terrific.
We had actually, Mr. Chairman, we had planned on doing something at town meeting.
Oh, okay.
Give the townspeople an understanding of, where their money went.
Yep.
So, hopefully we can do something like that. It won't take up an awful lot of time, but.
I think the biggest contribution is the fact that we don't have to go to an override vote. I think that's, I know a lot of hard work went into that effort from the school committee, from yourself, Mike, from Town Administrator Frank Lyman, from the Finance Committee and all the other departments relative to that. That's a big deal, and I'm grateful that we were able to come to some sort of resolution. Even the school committee, bringing the assessment from 11.5 to 8.5 is a big deal. So it's all about compromise, and we got it done, so.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion has been made to
Second.
adjourn, motion made and seconded. No discussion. If that's the case, I would request to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming. See you next week, town meeting.
Could I have your books back so I